Hey everyone,
Oh,
GameHounds podcast. We're here. Shepard has assumed the position.
hmm
I have assumed the position.
actually, I should go close the door
Oh, why?
because the door to the office is open.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thought you meant like your front door. I'm like, what's your front door doing open?
Oh yeah, my front door's open. I like
I thought you said you couldn't get up last week or 2 weeks ago because you would disturb Shepard. Look at you.
um. Well,
Um,
see, I'm gonna sit
caught,
down. I'm gonna sit
caught
down, and he's
right
yeah,
where he was 30 seconds ago. Has not moved a muscle.
yeah. What happened last week?
Remember I couldn't
No,
get up to spike your coffee because
I
it would disturb Shepard?
well yeah, because that's me going to another room. That's me doing things with my hands.
I can guarantee you Shepard would not give a crap if you walked in the other room as long as you were holding him.
No, he would. He would.
That cat's a total baby.
He would.
So, hey everybody, how are you? How's things? I see a couple people streaming into the chat room right now. So yeah, Nick's back from Florida. How was Florida?
It was nice.
Yeah.
It was. I'm gonna try to find a picture. We stayed at her Rachel's parents' new house.
Mhm.
They like got a house in a new community, uh, and it's huge, beautiful. I'm trying to see if I can hold this up. This was the backyard.
Oh gosh.
Can we?
Yeah.
Come on,
Stop
camera,
moving. Stop
focus.
moving. Stop moving. Don't move it. It'll
Shepherd.
catch up. It'll catch
Shh.
up. Back off a little bit. There we go. Stay right there. There. Oh, it wants to get there. But yeah, I can see
hmm
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, that
Swimming
was.
pool and beautiful blue sky.
They've got a little fountain right there. Oh yeah, that's all blue sky. So yeah, beautiful. The house, huge, huge. I'm like, holy shit! I've gone up 3 tax brackets.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and so yeah, just hung out there, hanging with her family, with her grandparents.
Did you do anything fun? Did you go to Disneyland?
No, no,
Aw.
we're far away from Disneyland. Disneyland was like on the other side of the state compared to where we were.
Yeah, when I say I meant to last show. Yes, it was. Last show was 2 weeks ago.
Mm.
Hey, pissed. How are you? Yeah, hi, is right. So you do anything other than, hang out at the pool and live the lifestyles of the rich and famous?
Uh, Not really. Like it was mostly just with family. We had like a little party because her mom had a surgery to get rid of cancerous growth, and it went well.
Mhm.
And so to celebrate that,
Cancer party.
yeah, yeah, a fuck cancer party.
Yeah, fuck cancer party. That's the best kind.
Yeah. And so that was kind of what we did on the last night, and it's funny. Come on, Jupiter. Come on in.
Oh, he was saying hi to pissed. Yeah, all right. I'd like to well, maybe you're saying hi just too. Could happen.
Um, but it's funny. That was all you saw the blue sky, that whole backyard. During the party, it wasn't raining where we were, but that whole back, and I took some videos of it, was just like a lightning storm.
Oh,
And so it
wow.
was just like this impressive. You're looking, and the sky just looks, it's all black, but then there's flashes, and you're like, oh, I can see the depth of the clouds because, like, some lightning went off behind the cloud, but so you see the bottoms of something light up in the back, and it's like, oh, that was behind a cloud, but I can see through the top of it, and that's where the light was, and it kept going and going.
Yeah. Florida, we don't really in California have thunder. Like, well, we
No, no,
do in the hills, but
not in the
nothing
Bay Area. No,
like
I was
those.
fascinated by all the lightning.
Yeah.
And more than once there was just like thunder that I didn't see any lightning, but a lot of 5-minute rainstorms.
Hmm.
I I overheated my iPad and iPhone sitting in the pool with like a podcast playing next to me, and then eventually it would just stop. I'd be like, "What? Why did it stop?" And temperature warning, like, app the phone and tablet going, "It's too hot, cool off." And it's like, "Oh, okay, I shouldn't leave these in the sun."
No, you should not leave those in the sun. You can cook your I've cooked my phone like that.
Hmm.
AC Ray says, I wave with 3 emoticons to y'all. It's almost always the first chat message. Your interpreter just messes it up. Oh.
Wait, that first message is always 3 of the same?
Yeah,
Oh, it's 3 different waves. I
right. 3
see.
different ways.
I thought it was the same emoji that somehow gets changed.
No. So,
Oh
my
yeah.
my week has we were just talking before the show, catching up with because Nick watched the last show. If you have not watched the last show, I'm not going to belabor you the story about the high speed car chase and the auto theft and how we wrecked a car thief's day with an air tag. You can go back and you can watch the last show. But so this week I have 100% less uh car chases and 100% more having my assets frozen in a bank failure.
What? Can you have a normal week?
I know, apparently not. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My direct deposit and my family's business that I manage for them are all at First Republic. And of course, my direct deposit is I couldn't stop it from going there. So my paycheck got dumped into an account that I can't move.
Oh, wait. I didn't see any news. What happened with First Republic?
Oh, it's being what's the word I want? The federal regulators are stepping in. It is
Really?
going under conservatorship.
Really?
They're trying to see if there are any other banks that might buy it after they liquidate all assets. But yeah, Friday, that's what I saw. Friday. I don't know if it was where you were or wherever you were, but there were strange things in the air on Friday. Not only did I wake up to news that my bank had failed and was in imminent danger of failing and
Hmm.
trying to wire money out as fast as I could and trying to do it before they shut it down, which I don't think I did. I may have. I don't know. I won't know until tomorrow whether it's actually left the bank. Um, but I had to do it. I'm on the way to work when I'm trying to do this. You know, I'm trying to do it over my phone, using my phone as a hotspot on the ferry, trying to get my money out of the bank before the bank fails. I get to work where I could get really good internet. The internet is out at work. I have
Oh,
never had internet be out at there. Our internet, our office is on Montgomery Street, just down the street from where there was a underground transformer fire that took out all of the electricity in a very large swath of the downtown San Francisco area, including us. So we had no power. I mean, we had power, but like the next block over didn't have power, but it knocked out our internet. So I was doing it from my work computer using my cell phone as a personal hotspot to try to get into my bank account to try and move money and try to stop my paycheck from going to that account and going to another bank.
yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Big banks are bidding for troubled First Republic as the FDIC deadline looms. So we'll see. We'll see if I can I fortunately have another bank account that is not in First Republic, and I do have emergency funds. Now, I'm not as much as emergency funds as I had before the Tesla, but I have
Mm.
some emergency funds, so I'll make it through until the FDIC. If I don't get my money out until the FDIC makes me whole.
Okay, yeah, because it's all insured, right? Like you
Oh
shouldn't
yeah, oh
lose
yeah, it's all
anything
right. I'm
at
not
this
going to be
point.
losing anything, but it's just frozen. Like I
It
can't
yeah,
use my money.
it's frozen, and you don't
Right.
want more money going into that frozen account.
Right, and I've got credit
Okay.
cards that I can use, and I've got some cash that I can use, so I'm not gonna be without money, but I may be getting a lot of love letters from, like, auto pay stuff that
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I have to go in and figure out what all the everything I have that's auto pay on everything, and also move my direct deposit and
jeez.
yeah,
1 week where nothing happens.
that's all I want. I just want nice, quiet week. And then next week's probably not gonna be a quiet week.
What's next week?
Next week, I have a doctor's appointment with an orthopedist to look at my knee because my knee for
Oh,
the
it's still
last month
swollen.
yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. It's very swollen and obviously full of fluid because I can't bend it all the way. So we're gonna find out what's going on with my knee. So maybe, knee surgery. Who knows?
Well, if it's swollen, it sounds like you just need to bleed it. Let's
Well,
do
you
the
can feel it.
do the
You can
16th century methods of let's we need to what is it? Release your
leeches.
humors.
Yeah, my humors.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is full of fluid. You can feel like you can poke it and it's like squishy, squishy, squishy. It's
Oh.
it's it's definitely fluid, but it's about the size of a right today, it's a pretty good day, so it's about the size of a softball. Tomorrow, I mean, I've had days when it is more like a cantaloupe or a soccer ball.
Ooh.
Bloodletting for the win. True. You got a point. You do have a point. I do still have the Tesla.
You see, whatever else happens, you still have the Tesla.
And I was washing it today and I had to stop because my knee was hurting. So
Although,
was so
although,
I couldn't move. I had to like go put my leg up so I've got half clean. It's like from the mid forward, it is clean. From the mid back, it's filthy.
important question now.
Yeah.
Taking the lessons of all these past week and combining them together,
Mhm.
have you put an air tag in the Tesla?
The Tesla is a pretty much air tag on wheels.
Okay, okay. It's got like an
The app
internal
tells
tag.
you yeah, like
Okay.
yeah. I mean, without going into, like, giving you my actual address, but, uh, like, it's updating right now, but it says when it was last seen and where it was last seen, and yeah, it's actually better than an AirTag, 'cause an AirTag only updates every 3 or 4 minutes.
Hmm.
But it says yeah, I mean, fortunately, it just says parked, but I don't know if you can see that where it says parked. Come on, come on, there we go, parked.
Oh yeah.
But it's parked at home. It knows where it is.
But does ask, would you trust a neighborhood kid to wash the Tesla?
Fuck no.
No.
Fuck no. Nobody touches that Tesla but me.
You
I
can't
don't even
just
like people looking at it.
you can't just pay a 15-year-old to wash your car.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. I'm still at the stage of where I'm washing it a very particular way with a very
Mm.
particular solution so that I can preserve the paint. And once the paint, gets
And
fucked up,
didn't
then
didn't you wash it last week?
2 weeks ago, 3
Do
weeks
you
ago.
need to wash it that often?
It's it,
I guess your car is outside
my car is outside.
and you care about the way it looks.
I care about it's outside. I care about the way it looks.
Both
I
things that
am
increase
very
the number of
close to
washes.
it's a very sooty place anyway because we're near a train yard and
Mm.
also a harbor and also a refinery. So there tends to be fine silt. It is also like everything is puking um, pollen right now, just puking pollen. But on top of that, and I've had new cars here. This is my third new car since I've been living in this house for the last 30 years. I've always parked them on the street. I have never had a car so regularly pooped on by birds. I mean, seriously. Maybe I'll get my car pooped on by a bird maybe like a couple times a year previous to this. That Tesla has been pooped on probably. I have cleaned probably about 30 poops off of it.
Hey, AC Ray says the neighborhood kids didn't give it a curb rash.
I know. Yeah, I know. I haven't curb rash ever since they put the new feature in. It was just a couple of weeks too late. That's what it is. But yeah, that car has been pooped on so much by really like loose birds, like not little poops, like big old poops that just streak down the side of the car, where you come out and you're going, what the fuck did that bird eat? What did it eat? So it's a thing. Also, the other thing about this area that you probably don't have, maybe you do, because we're right on the water, we get fog every night. We get dampness.
Oh yeah,
every
we never
night.
get fog here.
Yeah. We get, like low clouds and the fog rolls in on little cat's feet every single night here. So whatever lands on it during the day gets plastered to it by dampness and dew in the morning. So of course it just turns it into mud. And because it has a lot of chemicals in it, not chemicals, but like, refinery stuff and road stuff and freeway stuff that's all getting on it. It's not just pollen. It's not just dirt. It's actual stuff that, can fuck up your
it's
paint.
a tough neighborhood for a new car.
It's a tough neighborhood for a new car. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm using. Optimum no rinse. That's the stuff, baby. I'm not going to lie. That stuff's freaking awesome. Seriously, that stuff is absolutely awesome. You can wash an entire car with 4 gallons of water in a bucket and wash the whole thing. Like not even rinse it. There's no rinse. You just wash it and dry it and it is clean. Crazy stuff. I am in a toxic environment. This is a pretty, toxic town for being on the water. There's a lot of industry around me. That's the reason why Richmond is the low rent district of Bayside cities. It's the way it is.
Speaking of toxic environments. Goalie's in the chat saying, I'm watching in the hot tub completely naked.
Yeah, I don't need to know that. Thank you. Thanks. Now I need some optimum no rinse for my brain so I can wash that away. All right. So shall we start the show?
Yeah.
Got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
2 weeks worth of news. It absolutely.
I only have 1 week, but it was a pretty eventful week.
Yeah. All right. So let's start the show.
This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 677. We are recording this on Sunday, April 30th, 2023. I'm Edie Sellers. With me and back from Florida is Nick DiNicola.
Hello.
How are you, Nick? What's up?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I slathered myself with enough sunscreen that I barely even got a tan.
Really? That's
Maybe.
Impressive. That's hard to do in Florida, especially if you're out by a pool.
I feel like it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm too close to myself to know what I look like. I don't know.
Words to live by Nick DiNicola.
I feel like I look just as pale as ever.
What you been playing, my friend?
Well, because I was just sitting around for most of the time, I took my Switch and I was able to. Oh, I actually didn't put a banner for it. I
Oh, I
played.
forgot to do my banners. Oh crap. All right. Well, yes. Go ahead.
I played some Curious Expedition 2.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I kind of really didn't like it. I'm trying to
Really?
make my
Because I only played Curious Expedition 2, I think.
yeah.
That was the one I played, and I really loved it. So how is it different? Because you were the one that got me to play Curious Expedition 2 because you'd play 1.
Yeah, and I really liked 1. So the way it works is, you're on an expedition. It's kind of a turn-based roguelike game where each turn you set out to explore an area, and as you're doing that, a procedurally generated mysterious island. And along the way, you can encounter monsters that you have to fight. You can encounter ruins that you can sneak into and maybe steal an artifact, which triggers something. There are natives whose relationships you have to manage. Various kind of like adventurous expedition type things. I started playing it on normal, which I think was a mistake because I think playing it on normal makes the game so difficult that it kind of sucks all the fun out of it. So, as you're exploring an island, you have oh yeah, that looks like that's 1. That's Curious Expedition
Is that
1.
one? Oh, that is
Yeah.
one. Sorry. My
It's
bad.
got that pixel art, which I
Mhm.
like.
Yeah.
Um so as you're exploring this island, it's like a hex-based grid, and there's like a fog of war going on. So you can only see a certain amount around you and the rest is just black. You can only choose to go, like in a turn, you can only choose I want to go to this tile of the ones you can see. And when you move, that takes up a resource called sanity. So every time you move, you spend sanity to explore. There's also an extra sanity cost for starting a trek. So you take a turn and you move 5 tiles, and that's going to cost 20 sanity. 5 of that is just the cost of starting. And then the other 15 is the cost of actually moving across the tiles. So it really encourages you to move as many tiles as you can in a single turn. Because when the cost of moving is so high, when the cost of starting a move is so high, then it really, really punishes you for moving like 1 or 2 tiles.
Right.
And so what that means is, but you couple that with the fog of war, and it means, well, most of the time I can only move like eight tiles in any direction.
Mhm.
And because I'm punished so much for starting a new trek, I'm always like on a straight beeline from point A to point B.
Right.
And so if I see a little question mark off in the distance, like in the other direction, normally you would want the player to go investigate it and see what things they can discover. But in this game, because you're punished for starting a trek, nope. If you are looking for like you have a little compass that kind of points you in the direction of your goal, like the general direction. And the more you go, the more accurate it gets. So if it's pointing north and I see a question mark to the east, I'm not going east.
No.
I'm just skipping over that question mark because I don't have the resources to investigate it and continue on. And that sucks.
Yeah.
That just feels like it completely kneecaps the very thing that the whole game is about, which is exploring. So after a couple islands of that, I put it to easy. And that made it easier, which also made it more fun. And for a while, I had kind of a good game where I was going through this expedition. I had like a pretty big team of people. I had a lady, a guy, a donkey, and a dog.
Mhm.
And like they were great. And eventually, the guy and the girl fell in love with each other and would constantly sneak off into the bushes.
Yep, I had that happen on mine.
But then the guy also fell in love with me, with the
Right.
the main character who's also a woman, but that didn't cause any strife. And so we just kind of became this thruple expedition crew going around. But then I ran into an issue where I was in a big cave and the arrow, the compass, was pointing like southeast. And so I kept trying to get southeast, but there was a huge mountain range in the way.
Mhm.
And so I couldn't get around it. I would kind of go north and it would just, the mountain range would circle all the way back to where I entered the cave. So I thought, okay, I can't get around that way. And then I would go to the west to see if I could get around it there, but there was no path to get through. And I tried blasting my way with dynamite, but I only had one piece of dynamite, and that wasn't enough to get through the mountain range. And so I just spent like a half hour going back and forth across this mountain range, getting my sanity really low, resting at some waterfalls, like rest spots, because there were thankfully several rest spots in this cave. But it just felt like the whole thing, I got screwed over by the procedurally generated map, where it was pointing me in a direction that I just couldn't get to. And the only way I could continue was to restart that expedition. But I
Mhm.
was on like level 3. It was a story expedition because this game isn't a pure roguelike. Um, there's a kind of a story mode to it. And it was a important story mission that had like it was 3 levels deep where I had done one expedition, completed one objective, then completed another objective, completed a third objective, got into the cave to try to complete the final fourth objective, but I had to start all of that over from the beginning. And at that
Oh.
point, I thought, this isn't fun. Like, I like being this expedition thruple, but now I'm going to restart the whole expedition, which is going to reset all of those relationships. So I'm not going to even have the one fun thing that made the game worth it. And my memories of the first game were that it was a very lighthearted roguelike that cared more about letting the player encounter goofy, dumb things than it was like being a serious, like strategic game.
Mhm.
And this game, between the overly punishing starting cost of a trek, which made exploring, which disincentivized you from exploring, which is what the entire game is about, to being screwed over by the map, to then just kind of less goofiness overall, I feel, compared to the first one. No pet velociraptors, no zombie pygmies. Like the whole thing just kind of felt. I feel like every change they made from the first game is a change for the worse.
Well, that's a shame. Now,
It,
how far did you get into the story?
I was like on the second big story mission. I know. So there's like the main expedition leader, and you play as kind of a subordinate to her. At one point, she stays behind on a ruin to investigate it, and you have to go do like a couple other expeditions, and then you get a story quest that says, "Oh, she's been spotted over on this island."
Right.
That was the one that screwed me over, where I was trying to track her whereabouts. And so I was like
So
a solid
so
four hours into it.
did you get to the like, go through the, what was it? There was a gate that you have to make work, and you can pass through the gate into the other
That's
reality?
probably what the mission I was on was, because I was looking for her, and I know she was last seen at one of these gates.
Mhm.
That's probably what I would have done, but I just got screwed over.
Ah. Yeah, I did not maybe it's because I didn't play the first one. I really liked this game. I
Yeah.
thought that the character development like you talked about where you can end up having these very interesting like relationships and how the different members of the party react to each other. Sometimes they fall in love, sometimes they end up hating each other, sometimes they run
Mm.
away and then they come back later. Sometimes it is also very randomized so that you don't know, like you're always under a certain amount of threat that your party members are going to have a mind of their own and go do something else that is not conducive to your gameplay. So I had that happen a number of times where somebody just decided to leave. Like and they were warning him like they're getting sadder and sadder and you're trying to make them happy and you can't make them happy and then they just leave and it's like they leave in the middle of the expedition. It's like, damn it. So then you pick somebody up you don't really want. And then you get them all like leveled up and now you've got them into your rotation. And then that first person shows back up and says he's sorry and wants to come back. And it's like, God dang it.
Oh no! At that point, you kill him. You do everything you can to accept them back into your expedition, and then let them
No.
die.
No, 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 no. I don't do that.
Oh no! One guy took off, and
Mhm.
he stole some of our supplies when he took off,
Mhm.
and I knew like okay, there's a chance he might come back, and I made a vow if he ever comes back, I'm gonna do everything I can to murder that sucker
Mhm.
because I was vengeful.
Yeah, I can't do that. And I mean, it depends. There's some of them that are fine, that I'm more okay with it. It depends on, how that person's character arc plays out. Sometimes I'm better with it than others.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it all really comes down to what an interesting way that they've developed the game to create these very rich uh characters that you can pick up. Like every one of them seems to have a personality to them that is unique and independent of you. Which I love games that do that. That actually make them feel, like you're in an expedition with real people who have their own wants and their own needs beyond the fact that, you have to worry about their sanity on a constant basis.
Hmm.
So,
In the chat, AC Wraith mentioned a game called Renowned Explorers.
mhm.
I'm on the Steam page of that. That looks like it could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, he says I recommend Renowned Explorers. Granted, I've watched more streams than played myself, but he said Renowned Explorers party members don't have the same relationships, but battle itself involves a lot of controlling emotional buffs and debuffs. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I'm sad that you didn't like that, but it makes me want to now play Curious Expedition 1 simply because I wanna know what's the difference, because clearly there's a
Hmm.
big difference.
Yeah, I felt it at least. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe I'll give it a chance, but after playing that for a couple days, I switched over to play Triangle Strategy on the Switch,
Mhm.
which I ended up really falling in love with.
Really?
This it's totally a Nick type of game. It's from Square Enix. It
Did you mean to name it Strategy?
strategy.
Strategy, not Strategy.
Oh yeah. You know what? I misspelled it once and then I respelled it and the little red bar disappeared.
Uh-huh.
So I just assumed, okay, that must be correct.
Okay, let's try this way.
Triangle Strategy. It's a pixel art turn-based JRPG from Square Enix.
Mhm.
It was the second game after Octopath Traveler to do the whole HD 2D style, which is really, really cool. And it's basically it's a tactics game. It's Final Fantasy Tactics done really, really well.
Hmm.
It's about this landmass with three kingdoms. You've got the snowy kingdom in the north, you've got a desert kingdom in the east, and you've got kind of a forest kingdom to the west.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of them kind of controls an important resource in the world. And so 30 years ago, there was a big war about, hey, we want these resources. And they ended it. They kind of made a peace. And now there's like this delicate alliance between the three. And a new mine was recently discovered in one of the locations. And so it was decided that all three nations would join together to mine the resources in this new mine. Has like, hey, here's a symbol of our peace. We all fought over these resources before. Now we're going to join together to open this new mine. And that kind of becomes the catalyst for the drama that goes on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I really love kind of how long it takes to get going. It seems kind of slow at first because there's a lot of setup. Um, it takes like several chapters before you even see the mine. There's a lot of naturally, like with any good fantasy story, it begins with a tournament where all three of the kingdoms get together to do some tournament of a competition, which allows the game to introduce all the major players of each nation, right? Because here's the best warrior from the desert people, here's the best warrior from the ice people, and they get together, they fight. You kind of learn who's the king. You learn some of the relationships between the all the members of the royal family for each group. And it takes its time. Because it takes its time setting things up, I feel like I really got a good sense of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you really learn, like, each kingdom has a different political uh structure to it. The kingdom of Glenbrook, which is kind of the forest group, is more traditional medieval, where you've got a royal family and then you've got three minor houses amongst the kingdom that kind of control the surrounding land. You've got the kingdom of Aesfrost in the north, which is a much more militarized, not necessarily a dictatorship, but there's no minor houses. You've got one big city in the snowy hellscape, and that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the kingdom of Hyzanth in the desert, which is like a kind of at they present themselves as a religious utopia, but
Mm-hmm.
at a certain point you get the chance to travel there and get more of a sense of what the place is like, and you realize it's more of a strict religious dictatorship. That's, oh, everyone here is so happy because we kill anyone that's not happy.
Right.
And yeah, so I think all the characters, it does a really good job of establishing the characters, why they're together. Each one has everyone has different personalities that makes them work. And you've got kind of you play as the prince of one of the minor houses in Glenbrook. And when the game starts, you are kind of tasked with taking over. So you're going to become lord of that house. And as part of that, there's an arranged marriage that happens. So you're like, oh, this woman from Aesfrost is going to get married to me, and she kind of becomes one of the members of your crew that goes around. And yeah, I think it does a good job establishing the characters and the relationships. The group that you have, like your main fighting group, consists of characters from each nation that join you for various reasons. You've got the Ace Frosty wife, as part of your arranged marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You've got someone from Hyzanth that defected from there to flee the religion and joined your house to fight. When the war breaks out, one of the members from another royal family joins with you along with the bodyguard because you're one of the few people who can protect him. And so through that, you kind of have your main party crew consists of members of each of the nations. And that again allows it to kind of just give insight into each of these three nations, how they work, what kind of people stay there, what kind of people want to flee there. So I think like narrative wise, I'm really, really invested. I think it does a really good job of setting up this story so that when the big war finally breaks out, it feels really dramatic. And
Mhm.
so there was already a moment where it felt like in Game of Thrones, you had the Viper and the Mountain, right? You had the guy with the
Near the
spear,
mountain.
the guy with the spear from Dawn fighting the Mountain in the tournament.
Right.
Uh,
Was it the
and
Viper?
I think that was his nickname, the Sand Spear guy.
This does not sound right to me.
But anyways, the point is that was like this really famous fight in the show between like two warriors that were really built up.
Yeah, it is Mountain versus Viper.
Yeah, and I feel like as the war breaks out, like I've been playing for a solid 10 hours and I might be like a fourth of the way through the game because it's like a 50-hour game.
Mhm.
And like the big actual war just started.
Oh, wow.
The rest of it has been kind of set up and skirmishes and fighting some bandits, fighting some other things.
Window
But
dressing, but good
yeah,
window dressing.
very good window dressing to the point that when, like I said, it's been a moment where, oh, this guy is the great warrior from one nation. This is the great warrior from the other nation, and they're gonna fight. And it's like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And so already it's gotten, it's because it spent its time building up these characters. Even this early in the conflict, when those characters meet and fight, it feels like it has a solid dramatic weight. Um, in terms of the actual tactics of it, I really love it. It manages a balance of feeling really, really challenging while not feeling like overly difficult.
Mhm.
I haven't lost a game, but I've struggled with some of the levels. Like they've been challenging. I think the moment I really fell in love with it was there was one map that was kind of laid out almost like a figure eight, where you were in a mine and there were two big pits. If you're on a video, if this is one video, it was like several hours behind. No,
Behind
behind
this?
this. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, oh yeah, I think maybe that's it right there. Yeah, this. So you've got paths going to the left and the right, and then a path going up the middle. And your task, your objective was to defend one person. It was essentially like an escort mission. But you're really outnumbered, and they've got range units, they've got strong melee units, and you're just kind of stuck in this one area. And I spent a good amount of time just looking over the map, thinking, okay, if I split my forces to try to take off each of these groups, I'm going to be sorely outnumbered. But if I hang back and let them come to me, then I'll able to better defend them.
Right, you can
They,
channel them through because they only have limited, access to you.
yeah. The challenge being that the guy I'm supposed to defend starts in the middle of the map. And I wasn't sure what he was going to do. And they've got an archer up on this real high ground that would just really screw me over if I let him. So what I ended up doing was taking my archer, who just so happens to be riding a giant bird, uh, and they can cover like really high elevation because they're on a
Mhm.
giant bird. Sent her up to the high ground to deal with the archer. And because it's turn based and because there's a lot, you can see there's a lot of people on screen.
Right.
One character doesn't act that often. Like one character might get six to 10 actions in a game.
Mhm.
And so my archer wasn't really able to quickly defeat the enemy archer, but most importantly, she was just there to keep him distracted. And so because I had that archer distracted, I was able to kind of advance through this middle road, surround the guy I was supposed to defend, then retreat back into my little defensive position, let them come to me and defeat them, like create a nice little shield wall, basically, where I was able to defeat them. And it all worked out really well. And that fact, the fact that I was able to create this strategy based on the landscape and execute it, like that felt really, really satisfying. It was satisfying because the level design actually impacted my tactics, which impacted their ability. It wasn't just, oh, who's the stronger unit in this instance? It wasn't just, I'm going to send my sword guy and smack him, and my attack is higher than his defense, so I'm going to do better. It was a matter of, thinking tactically. Instead of doing the most damage to this guy, I'm going to blind him so that the next turn when he attacks, he'll probably miss. And that just creates a much more interesting game, a much more interesting strategy game, when it's not just about doing the most damage, but trying to figure out how to best manage all these different things going on at once.
Right. Yeah. I'm interested in this. I'm not gonna lie. I know Octopath Traveler is an amazing game. I cannot get through it. It's long. For
It's
some
very long.
reason, it just seems to move so slowly that I can't really push through.
I think Octopath Traveler, it's a different type of game. I think the story is really not as good. I think Triangle Strategy is a much better written game. Just a more interesting world, more interesting characters, more interesting conflict. Octopath Traveler is way more simple.
Right.
And that makes its length feel a lot harder to get through. Because when you have a 50-hour game that's like, these characters are okay, this story's okay, but the combat's really fun, that 50 hours really kind of drags.
Yeah.
But when it's 50 hours of, I like these characters, I like this combat, I want to see where the story goes. If there is one downside to Triangle Strategy, it's that the pace between story and combat, you can have a combat mission last like an hour and a half, but then you'll enter like an hour of cutscenes. So it's a talky game.
Right.
There's a lot of conversation, a lot of just watching characters converse with each other. But I don't mind that because I really like the story. And so that makes the 50 hours, fly by. I don't mind it. But if you don't like that story, then like Octopath Traveler, those 50 hours could really, really drag.
Right. Right. Any other games?
No, that's it. Continue with Marvel Snap. Marvel Snap is still a great game.
Why don't you talk about Marvel Snap? Because I just realized I have to put my bread in the oven or else it'll overproof.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. That's how I'm saving money these days to pay for my Tesla, is I'm making my own bread.
Not buying bread at Safeway. That's for rich folk.
Yeah.
Not
I
buy
like my soft and fluffy milk bread. So I'm making Japanese milk bread. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
I have to preheat the oven and stick it in the oven. Be right back.
Okay. Yes. I've continued with Marvel Snap.
Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
Right.
That game continues to be really fun. I think the developer, Second Dinner, is doing a really good job of adding content each month. Like any other long service game, it has a season pass, but really a season is a month. Excuse me. And so each month they add a card, they add, various variants to other cards. Each month is like, hey, here's a themed bundles. And I think the last theme was animals. So they had new variants for some of the animal characters, which were just fun to collect because that's what it is, collectible card game. I want to collect new cards. And so the new cards they had were all animal related. They the newest card was Hit Monkey, which really changes up the game and how you play it. And I think that's what keeps me coming back is the cards they add really change. They combo with other cards in really, really fascinating ways. And so, like, mostly what I played are, hey, here's a deck that's built around discard. So I'm going to play a card that's going to discard something from my hand, but because I'm kind of designed around that, that's going to benefit me. Or maybe it's a destruction deck. So I'm going to play a card that's going to eat another card, but that's going to benefit me in some way. And so then the past month, they added this new card, Hit Monkey, which gets more power the more cards you play that turn. So if you play Hit Monkey and then you play another card or another card or another card, then Hit Monkey gets even stronger. And so that creates the potential for a really strong card, but you have to really manage what you play. And that's just a style of deck that I've never really dealt with. And that makes the game really fun because it's a whole new game practically at that point, a whole new deck that I've never really experimented with. And now I have a card that really benefits from that. And the fact that they keep adding things like that keeps it feeling really fresh. And I think as long as they do that, I'm going to continue to play it and be invested in it. The moment it feels like, it's another destruction card. Oh, it's another discard card. Oh, it's another of this. It's another of that. Then that's when I might kind of fall off and get bored. But at this point, each new month with each new card manages to kind of mix up the meta gaming in a pretty significant way that I really enjoy.
I got to play that one of these days. But
it's
there's
cool.
So many other games that I've got to play one of these days that's low on the totem pole.
Yeah, there's no rush. It's not going anywhere.
So I forgot to tell you earlier, another way that I'm saving money so I can afford my Tesla. Other than making my own bread, you know what else I made?
Beer? Makguli?
So yeah, I just finished it. I have not had it yet, so I am going to have it now. If you are not familiar with it, it is Korean rice wine. It is one of my favorite drinks, and I am making it. Gotta mix it up a little bit.
Edie's gonna have like a bread and beer distillery going in her house.
Yeah, there's a lot of living things in my kitchen right now. So hold on a second, because this might explode. It can do that. Okay, cool. Didn't explode. It naturally carbonates in its in the refrigerator, and it's when you bottle it. And I bottled it 3 days ago.
Okay, so it only takes 3 days to kind of ferment and get all that.
It took 6 days to ferment, and then it's another 3 days in the refrigerator that it develops its carbonation. So there you go, Chinese Korean rice wine. Ooh, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. That'll do, Rabbit.
Yeah, the Makguli we had at that one place after St. Clue was really good, but so was that soju cocktail. That was really good.
Soju cocktails are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Nick and I went for Korean food after we went to the theater because we are classy people.
Yes, we went to the theater. To see Clue. To see Clue. The game based on the board game.
The theater based on the board game that's based on the movie. Thank you for the Makguli. I've got 3 liters in my refrigerator. I've got another 3 liters brewing with a different recipe, and I'm about to do another 4 liters with another recipe to see which one is the best one. I'm gonna have a lot of booze in the house. I still haven't had Korean barbecue. Oh, you haven't had?
How have you lived?
Oh, AC Ray, you've got to have Korean barbecue. Oh my God.
You haven't
Yeah.
lived.
Yeah. Texas and thinks they got the barbecue down. They got nothing on Korean barbecue. Holy crap. Good stuff. Yeah. You got to go out and get that sometime. And then drink makgeolli with it or soju. You're supposed to drink soju with it. I prefer makgeolli. Soju just tastes like vodka, but it doesn't have as much alcohol in it. And I'm not a huge fan of drinking vodka straight. Just not.
Well, that's why you got to have a cocktail.
You
So
have to
they
have it with a
mix it
cocktail.
with some good fruit.
Mhm. Or mix it with beer.
Yeah.
That's good stewed stuff too. Anyway, my game this week. Yes, I played something. And I was inspired by one of the streamers that I enjoy. Like it's recommended to me, and I enjoy watching his channel. Call Me Kevin. And when Hitman 3 came out quite some time ago, he's a huge Hitman fan, and he plays it absolutely silly. I realized I'd never played a Hitman game.
Hmm.
That's like being a movie critic without having ever seen the Godfather series, which I was. But
I
I
mean, I've never seen the Godfather series.
yeah, neither have I. We should get together and watch that. And I was a professional movie critic, and I'd never seen the Godfather. Not even the series. I haven't even seen the original Godfather.
Ditto.
Yeah, we really should. We really should. Anyway, so it's on Game Pass. All 3 of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So rather than go for the whole like long story arc, I just jumped into Hitman 3.
I think that was like didn't they combine all the games?
No, it definitely comes into the middle of a story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a story there that I don't understand about Agent 47 at all. Something to do with Romania. I have no idea. I just
know.
play the game. Yeah, it is what it is. It is exactly what it says it's supposed to be. It is crazy, silly, stupid fun. I mean, you could take it seriously, and I am doing it sort of right now, but it does have a mode of called professional, which is where you're playing it like seriously. And then there's the unprofessional, I forget what the less professional mode, where you just have fun. And it even says it in the description, like go nuts, have fun, play as silly as you want. Something along those lines in the actual description of it. And I like the fact that you've got this open world game with lots of possibilities of how you can kill someone. And you can do it in incredibly like straightforward ways, incredibly surreptitious ways, multiple options you can do. And then once you're familiar with it, you can start doing stupid stuff to get them killed. And it's great. It's so much fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. I found myself playing until 2:30 last night because of it. And I wasn't
Wow.
not intending to do that. I was going to go to sleep early, and I looked down and it was 2:30. So Hitman 3, I have nothing to gauge it against as far as previous games. Never played any of the Hitman, which is why I felt obligated to at least try Hitman. But really enjoying it. AC Ray says you can play 1 and 2 in 3, but they might cost extra depending on the deal. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see any option for that. It may be that there's an option for that in Game Pass because I didn't buy it. Obviously, it's Game Pass.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. So that might be, hey, Hitman 3 is free, but if you want like 1 or 2, like they're available as DLC or something, probably.
yeah. Well, 1 and 2 are available as standalones. So I don't know if there is an add-on. There were certainly a lot of add-ons that you could add to it. So I don't know. But AC Ray says the Godfather movies are worth watching. But as far as Korean barbecue, he says no real city near me for the cultural variety you guys get. We just might have to fly out there sometime and bring Korean barbecue with us, dude. Just might have to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll last on the plane ride.
Well, no, we would stop on driving. I mean, it's not like he's near an airport. We would have to drive from whatever city it is, and I guess the closest airport would be New York. There's certainly good Korean barbecue in New York.
Oh yeah.
Um, but let's see. He says there might be a Korean place 2 towns away if I ever have the money to spare. Yeah, you should save up for this. You should save up for that. You really should. Yeah. I know that it is a 2-year-old game that I'm talking about playing it and never having, and the third entry of a long running, much beloved series, but really, really, really freaking enjoying it and enjoying doing silly, dumb things and
I only played
murdering
some
people.
of.
I still get such joy out of bashing people in the back of a head by throwing a wrench into the back of their, or catching them in
A
the
wrench
face,
or a soda can.
a soda can, or better yet, the briefcase. The briefcase is awesome.
I've watched a bunch of people play it. You should try throwing an axe at someone because that is particularly hilarious.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm playing the first. I'm doing it like all of them over and over and over again.
Yeah, which is kind of what you're supposed to do, right? Because it's each map is so dense with possibilities that I think the first time through the game does a pretty good job of giving you waypoints. Like you can set it up to give you waypoints. So like, oh, you want to kill this guy, and if you stumble across a conversation where someone mentions, oh, hey, that chandelier is looking really dangerous, then it kind of pops up on a waypoint on your map that's like, oh, this is where you can go to try to drop the chandelier on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you listen to someone else and they're like, oh, yeah, he loves to play golf, then that'll maybe like trigger the quest line where you could get like an exploding golf ball and kill him that way.
Right. And I'm playing, I think, the first true like actual Agent 47 episode mission that is at a fashion show. And yeah, you'll overhear like, oh man, I really love this particular model. I hear he's going to be there. And it's like, he looks just like you, but with face paint. It's like, oh, all right. So then you become him.
Yeah. And it's always cool how the game uses disguises. Not just disguises, but like, oh, this uniform will get you into these locations, but not these other locations. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna be a chef so I can get into the back, but then I need to get on the floor. So I need to find like a guard.
Waiter.
Yeah, oh yeah, a waiter, knock him out, which will get me to the floor. Then that'll get me into like the back room where I can knock out the model, take him, which will get me up to like some restricted areas. Then I gotta find someone else.
Right.
And that kind of trial and error process of, bumbling your way through it.
Right. Or like, that there's a solution. Like there's 3 people there and 2 bathrooms, and you want to sneak up on the guard and take his uniform so you can get up to the 2nd floor. And it's like, how am I going to do that? It's like, okay, walk into the first bathroom, overflow the first bathroom. Then you take that person and knock him out and then stash him. Then you go to the other bathroom. It just so much. And there's an element of randomness that, you could do it like 2 or 3 times, and then there will be someone that comes in that wasn't part, like you did it slightly faster this playthrough. So there's actually somebody walking by the bathroom. So as you're stuffing the body into a closet, somebody walks into the bathroom because they saw the water coming out, just stuff like that. It just becomes the better you get at it, the more challenges it creates, simply because it's changed the cadence of when you're performing these tasks. So the NPCs are in different places. Yeah, I had a really fun time last night at the very end where I was interrupting. I was fucking with this woman's computer to interrupt an auction of like a knock list of all agents in the EU. And she's auctioning off and she's running it by computer, and she's in the other room and the computer's in her office, and I'm screwing with the computer. So I screw with the computer and I'm in a guard uniform. So then I step back and she's like, damn it, why does it keep going down? She comes in and it changes. So then she starts walking away and I screw with the computer again. It's like we just went back and forth of me screwing up the computer, her walking in, fixing it, then screwing. Yeah. Having a great time with it. So I'm probably going to be playing that tonight.
Yeah, I think you can't cut away from this video. The guy in the video, he's trying to assassinate a target, and it looks like he triggered an alarm so that the target is going to try to escape. But then he sabotaged the escape helicopter so that he can't use that to escape. So now he got into a wingsuit and is going to jump off of like this Burj Khalifa building. And I assume that he probably sabotaged the wingsuit in some way so that the guy is just gonna fall. Oh.
Yep, target eliminated. Yep. Just so much fun. And if you want to watch somebody playing it silly and very well, I highly recommend the Call Me Kevin streams, Hitman 3 streams. Just so much fun. And I'm enjoying it.
Cool.
So I'll be playing probably tonight after I finish washing the other half of my car.
I've seen some like speed run videos, which are just like impossible.
Yeah.
People they know, oh, I have a pistol and the target is going to be walking through this area, half a mile away. But from my starting point, I have like a brief half-second window where they're exposed through like, I'm going to shoot through a window and it's going to go through a building and it's going to go through a bell tower and it's going to go through this and this. And they managed to like shoot someone from across the map 3 seconds after the level starts and then they escape. It's like, how? It's insane.
And it's a very well structured game because as someone who's never played Hitman before, you kind of have to get into the mindset of what it is. You have to kind of get yourself acclimated to the ways that you can exploit the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And there's challenges in each of those. So as you're reading the challenges before you even start, it's like, pose as the person that they're supposed to meet and murder them that way. It's like, oh, you can do that. Or start a generator to distract a guard. It's like, what generator? Where? Trigger off the fireworks or kill them when they buy a remote detonated device in the safe room. And it's like, there's a safe room? What's that all about? So you are kind of clued into, hey, check it out. These things are here. You might want to go find them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's cool.
AC Ray says I have multiple Hitman games and I have never really played one. Go pick it. Go play it. It is a slow game, but it's one of those games that are deceptively slow, meaning that you played one mission like 15 times over and over and over again. And then it's 2:00 in the morning and you go, I literally just got done with the tutorial. The replayability on this is insane.
I know the developer is working on a Bond game, which I'm excited about because that seems like a really good combination.
If you took Hitman and just skinned it for Bond,
yeah, that could totally work.
Yeah, it would work. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and yeah, nothing else. I guess there's a couple of things I might do this week. We will talk about something that I will challenge you all out there this week, especially if you have a PlayStation. But we'll talk about that. All right. Anything else before we move on to the news?
No.
All right, then. Let's hit, wait for it, the news. This is the GameHounds news. The news commentary with our first item is, God, there's so much to talk about, Nick. Go top of the fold stuff. Seriously, go top of the fold stuff.
top of the fold stuff is that the UK CMA has blocked the Activision Microsoft merger.
Yes, they have. So yeah, that was very much a big thing. Let me get to where I have it. No. Yes. So the UK, it's Competition and Markets Authority. That's the one that the UK department that was asking a lot of questions and you really being quite hard. And it's really the biggest governmental body that that Microsoft has had to get approval from. So this is very much the test case for like the EU. It is very much test case for the United States and other countries of whether this Microsoft Activision merger will blend. And according to CMA has been collecting a lot of data, a lot of information, some of it good, some of it bad. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, Microsoft had to point out that the numbers that the CMA was using as how much market share and how much money that Microsoft would make out of this transaction were not accurate, were not good numbers. They were kind of mixing apples and oranges. But they released this week their final report, and the organization found that the merger would not substantially affect competition among console services, but it did conclude that it may result in less competition in cloud gaming.
Yeah,
and
that was the specific point.
Right. That extra data, when they fixed the data that the CMA was using, they were like, oh yeah, no, consoles, you'll be fine. But it's that cloud gaming thing that's a problem. And it all boils down to Game Pass.
I think AC Wraith in the Discord linked to a good article on The Verge that says Microsoft's Activision deal is on life support because cloud gaming still sucks. And it's a good summary of,
it's a very good point.
Of how like this is happening partially because Stadia failed.
Right. If Stadia had been around, then this wouldn't have been an argument because obviously there's a third party that is not PlayStation.
Like Stadia failed, Luna has gone nowhere fast.
Yeah.
And basically the CMA's argument is that because this is such a small nascent market at the moment, someone as big as Microsoft coming in with, all the power of Activision's IPs, it could really take over. And the Verge article has an interesting point of Microsoft putting all of this muscle behind cloud gaming is arguably the thing that could make cloud gaming really viable.
Right.
But also viable in the way that they own it pretty much.
Right. Exactly.
And I think some of the other sticking points the CMA had was specifically that all of its competitors would likely use like Microsoft Azure, Microsoft's clouds services to run their own.
The way that Amazon, what was that? Amazon servers run everything now.
Yeah, AWS.
They
run everything. And then that for as much as Microsoft touted its, deals, we're going to let all these other cloud gaming companies have our games for 10 years. They would keep 100% of the in-game transactions.
Right. So yeah, the final statement from the Activision or from the CMA, which thank you for linking that, AC Wraith. There is the actual, no, that's the BBC one. Here is the actual statement from the UK government. They said, in relation to cloud gaming services, we found that Microsoft already has a strong position. It owns a popular gaming platform, Xbox, and a large portfolio of games, the leading PC operating system, Windows, and a global cloud computing infrastructure, Azure and Xbox Cloud Gaming, giving it important advantages in running a cloud gaming service. With an estimated 60 to 70% market share in global cloud gaming services, honestly, by default, because everybody else failed, It's already it is already much stronger than its rivals. We found that the merger would make Microsoft even stronger and substantially reduce competition in this market. We found that Activision titles, including Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Overwatch, would be important for the competitive offering of cloud gaming services as the market continues to grow and develop. Not entirely true, but not also entirely false. There's some merit to that. I think they're putting way, way, way too much emphasis on Overwatch, World of Warcraft, and Call of Duty. But going on.
I mean, it's just the bonuses, right?
Huh?
They're bonuses. They're important IPs that would attract people.
IPs, but they're not make or breaks for cloud gaming. What makes or breaks cloud gaming is whether it works, and none of them have worked very well. Ultimately, it's not the titles, it's the service that's the problems with the competition. But going on, we found that after the merger, Microsoft would find it commercially beneficial to make Activision's titles exclusive to its own cloud gaming service. Given its already strong position, even a moderate increment to Microsoft's strength may be expected to substantially reduce competition in this developing market to the detriment of current and future cloud gaming users.
And I think they also specified that
Eh,
it
possibly.
it's not just that Microsoft would have a benefit going forward, but that any effort the CMA would take to regulate things and make sure Microsoft is encouraging competition would be too hard to do.
Right.
Like it would be too hard to police Microsoft to make sure that they're
Playing
sticking
fair.
to this. Yeah, because and I think there was some other article that talked about it. Microsoft wouldn't even have to actively sabotage any other streaming service. It could just let them continue to be okay while
Right.
making their own significantly better. And that by itself would encourage people to go to Xbox instead.
Right. And I don't know. This is kind of like saying Netflix should not be allowed to have contracts with Disney because Netflix is the biggest movie streaming service.
No, see, I
No,
think
that would be like
no.
Netflix owning Disney. You're right.
Yeah, this is if Netflix bought Disney.
Yes, right. True.
And I think this is really interesting coming on the heels of what we talked about a couple weeks ago when you said that Microsoft's goal is to have an Xbox app like Netflix where it doesn't matter if Call of Duty is available to buy on PlayStation, even if a great quality version of it, because you'll have a Game Pass subscription Call of Duty available to stream on your TV, and you'll use that instead just out of convenience.
Right.
Like this is them basically trying to block that future.
Right.
That you had already envisioned.
Yeah, true. So what Microsoft very predictably were not happy about that. The vice chair and CEO of Microsoft.
Which the responses have been so hilariously
Why?
doom and gloom.
Oh yeah.
They're like it harkens back to Bobby Kotick previous comments.
Was
like,
it the Valley of Death?
Yeah, this would be the Valley of Death. The UK wants to be a technological powerhouse. This is killing them. I think, let's see. Speaking to BBC, Microsoft President Brad Smith says the decision marked probably the darkest day in 4 decades in Britain. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Really? Britain
was on fire I mean, literally was burning to the ground. And this is the darkest day?
Brexit was child's play compared to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, Jesus. I feel seeing some of the responses is like, guys, you got to go outside and touch some grass, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they also said we're fully committed to this acquisition and will appeal. The
Yeah.
CMA's decision rejects a pragmatic path to address competition concerns and discourages technology innovation and investment in the United Kingdom. So yeah, essentially it means that ultimately there's going to be an appeal. I think that was a foregone conclusion if that didn't go their way.
Mhm.
But keep in mind that this is the first really like significantly large governmental organization that has been ruled on this. And of course, UK is no longer part of the EU, but it's EU adjacent, let's just say. And we have yet to see a final decision from the European Commission that is evaluating exactly the same thing. They postponed their own decision until next month, the end of next month, the 22nd of May. So I'm sure the European Commission is also looking at these conclusions, and it's a little bit of a early primer of what to expect if there are any other questions from the EU, what that might entail, and also what that might be their concerns as far as if they turn it down. Now, here is an interesting kind of, what do they call it? Thought what was
Thought
it?
experiments.
Thought experiment. Here's an interesting thought experiment. So the EU has yet to decide on this. UK has already decided on this. UK is no longer in the EU, so they're making their decision independently. But clearly they've already played their cards of what the problems they had with it. This will give Microsoft the ability to be able to see what the problems are that one organization would have so that they can kind of tailor the information out to the next groups, right? Kind of fix their argument. What if, based on the information they now have from the EU, from the UK, that they actually get approval from the EU and they get approval from the United States? That means, does it go through? Does that mean that it goes through for everybody but the UK?
But I
Does
don't know
that
how
mean
that would be
Microsoft
possible.
stops, selling games in the U? Because I mean, ultimately, if the UK has a problem with it, but the EU doesn't, and the United States doesn't, and Asia doesn't, and everybody else doesn't, then does that mean that Microsoft suspends business in the UK? Because they're not gonna not let this merger go through because the UK doesn't like it.
Yeah.
What if they're the only outlier on this one?
Yeah, I don't know what would happen. I would guess either they would have to like back down and say we don't approve of it, but if everyone else does, we can't stop Microsoft from doing business here. Or Microsoft would have to stop doing business in Britain, in the UK, which doesn't seem possible.
UK, see, that's the thing. UK. To all my English friends, I apologize, and my Irish and Scottish friends, but UK's not that important anymore. You used to be when you were part of the EU. Now you're number 3, or maybe even number 4 in the world as far as that's concerned. So you kind of, the Brexit thing kind of screwed you as far as how important. And the thing is that we all believe that the UK is super important. UK is not that big. Not when you compare it to the United States, to Asia, and to the EU. Way more people, way more gamers, way bigger market in all 3 of those markets than little UK. They're sitting on their island and screaming into the void, "Don't you know who we are?"
Yeah,
And
but I
I
don't know
think
how
that
it
might
would
be the
be.
moment.
I don't know how it would be possible for a company like Microsoft to completely extract itself from an entire set of countries like that.
Well, they just stop selling stuff and turn off their servers to the UK. So then everybody has to VPN in.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's possible.
I don't know either. That's what I'm saying. Thought experiment. I don't know. But
Yeah.
now that Microsoft kind of knows what what the complaints are going to be, if they can sort out those complaints for everybody else but the UK, then the UK is going to have to go along, appeal or no appeal. They're going to have to change their stance. So,
Almost likely they wouldn't like ban
honestly,
all of Microsoft.
Wouldn't that be an ultimate fuck you from the EU? Is if the EU let it go through and the UK didn't. Yeah.
One more way Brexit fucked things up.
Yeah. Because that was a messy divorce, and the EU has yet to actually kind of take a dig at the UK. They've just been kind of sitting there quietly, and I'm sure that there's more than one person to be like, oh, the UK doesn't like it. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, but at the same time, if there's one regulatory group that actually cares more about this stuff than anyone else, it's the EU.
Yeah, absolutely. They do. Ray says, especially when you make one of their competitors all of Asia. Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Asia's not going to let it go through because PlayStation. Just the way it is. So, in other this week in Activision Blizzard shit show news.
Okay.
Since we're talking about that, what else have I got? There was some more. Let's see, not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. Okay, so the other this week in Activision Blizzard shit show news. Blizzard is in trouble with NetEase.
That's been going on for a while.
Right. But now it looks like NetEase might be suing Blizzard. If you recall, Blizzard pulled out of China because pulled out of their partnership with NetEase, which allowed them to be able to sell their games, Diablo, World of Warcraft, everything else, in China. You have to kind of partner with NetEase because, in order to get past the Chinese government, you kind of had to have a company on the ground that was your partner. There's been a lot of discussion of exactly why this relationship broke down between NetEase and Activision / Blizzard. But it did, and their contract ended. And now, and Blizzard suspended all of their games in China. So you cannot play World of Warcraft. You cannot play can't play Fortnite. You can't play a Diablo, a bunch of other games in China because of the breakdown of this agreement, this contract. NetEase is reportedly going to sue Blizzard over the refunds of the games that are no longer available in China. So last year, like I said, it was announced that Blizzard would be pulling the games like World of Warcraft and Overwatch and Hearthstone, which is very big there, due to NetEase being unable to come to an agreement with them for this new contract. The services to those contracts ended January 23rd. And that was a 14-year agreement that got shut down. And there's actually been some discussion about how it might have been a bad translation misunderstanding of why it broke down, but it did anyway. So NetEase is saying that Blizzard promised refunds to more than 1 million players in China who when they shut down the servers like WoW servers and Overwatch servers and they went offline. NetEase had to cover the refunds that Blizzard promised. And Blizzard didn't compensate NetEase for that. So NetEase is also looking for the compensation over the unsold merchandise, inventory, and also undeveloped games that were supposed to be done with Blizzard.
Okay,
Um,
wait. There's an update that AC Wraith link that I'm
oh,
looking at. Apparently, it's not NetEase. NetEase is not suing Blizzard. The Chinese court system got one person confused with NetEase. Basically,
what?
one guy is suing Blizzard and was able to include NetEase as an appellant.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so that made it look like NetEase was suing Blizzard. But really,
No.
it's just one guy.
It's one guy. Oh,
It's just one guy who's upset
interesting.
about the refund, and somehow NetEase got onto
Drag
the court
NetEase
document.
into it. Whoops. That's interesting because I had actually saved this story on Friday and that information hadn't come out. Interesting. So let me pull that up. PC Gamer.
Yeah, it looks like it was a bureaucratic screw up in the Chinese court system.
Oh, it was the Chinese courts that screwed it up.
Yes. So it was a legitimate screw up that made it look like NetEase was suing Blizzard. And so that news was accurately reported everywhere else.
Right.
It's just that it wasn't accurately reflected in the court documents.
Got it. The article was based on court documents that have since been altered. Let's see. The article is based on court documents that have since been altered. Bizarrely enough, it seems to be a bureaucratic screw up in the Chinese court system whereby one angry man got confused with a corporate behemoth. Interesting. Okay. So never mind. This doesn't mean it's not part of the shit show. It's still, I mean, this is a perfect freaking example of the shit show that is Activision Blizzard right now, especially with that whole NetEase thing falling apart.
So, okay, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
So one of the other applicants on the court document was the former licensing partner, The Nine. The Nine was subsumed by NetEase 10 years ago.
Okay.
And what's interesting is I'm going to read from this PC Gamer article. Okay, he just says, "What's more curious about the amounts involved and much. It looks an awful
It was
lot.
like $85
it,
million
it looks
or
like
$800
this
million.
suit. Yeah, it looks an awful lot like this suit was an attempt to fit into that narrative and mislead the public into thinking it was a part of it. Yang Jun's previous attempt at this, a case against NetEase and the Nine in 2019 seeking a refund for World of Warcraft game time, was dismissed. So this guy had previously sued NetEase and the Nine over the same thing, and it was dismissed. And so now it looks like he had somehow filed it against Blizzard, got NetEase's name involved over the same issue to try to make it look like NetEase was suing Blizzard over this issue instead of just him.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like before the lawsuit got debunked, Blizzard gave a statement on the reports yesterday. Blizzard told Wowhead, quote, "We haven't received the lawsuit yet, but we're confident we aren't in breach of any licensing agreements."
Mm-hmm.
He also mentioned the complaint from NetEase is disappointing and puzzling, which it makes sense because they didn't do it. This whole NetEase Blizzard thing has been a comedy of errors. I wish I could remember what the what they're saying was a misunderstanding in translation that caused this to their original contract of 14 years, their relationship to fall apart, and it came down to like a translation of a particular sentence in a certain way that NetEase took offense to, And then when NetEase took offense, their language back to Blizzard was mistranslated also and took offense to. It almost seems like someone's in there intentionally screwing with things to make things worse than they are. It's like having the girlfriend who's in between the husband and the wife trying to get them broken up. So, yeah, it turns out I guess there is no lawsuit. I stand corrected. Crazy story. Now I want to go back and read all the articles about this because this is getting more and more shit showier every minute. All right, so that was my first item. Nick, you go next. I have to put the bread in the oven now. The oven's preheated. Be right back.
Okay, then I guess I'll start off with the biggest news for me personally, and I'll save some more.
Oh no, we have one more Activision Blizzard shit show story.
Okay, well, I want to save that for when you came back.
All right. Okay, yeah. Be right back.
Okay. For me personally, as you know, I'm a big fan of the Waypoint podcast, but Vice Media has gone through some really hard financial times the past several years and recently laid off about 100 people. And as part of that, basically laid off their entire games division. So Waypoint is now no longer, as of June, Waypoint is no longer going to be a podcast. And at least what's different between this and all of the other
Wait, well,
podcasts
hold on a second. Where did I hear this? What?
Waypoint is gone. Not yet. Starting in June, it'll be gone. Vice Media laid off about 100 people, including all of its gaming division, which is basically just Waypoint. What makes this different from a lot of other closures like this is that they have a heads up that they'll lose their job in June, the beginning of June. And so that basically gives them the month of May to kind of prepare. And they just did a podcast where they were kind of joking of like, well, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know that you won't have a job in a month, but you're still here for now.
Kind of like my bank.
Yeah.
I wonder how their customer service is going to be affected by the fact that just occurred to me. Oh God. Am I going to really find out what my banker really thinks of me now? If I go into the office and be like, Margaret, how are you? It's going to be like, fuck you. I never liked you anyway. Now I actually get to tell you what I think of you and your shitty company.
Margaret holds a grudge.
Yeah. Oh, I put Margaret through a lot.
Okay. Margaret has a reason to hold a grudge.
Margaret has taken very good care of me when I really didn't deserve it.
And you never tipped her.
You don't tip your banker. You just don't. It's a bad idea.
That's why she's upset.
Actually, I'm more interested to find out because Margaret just had all of her Team Margaret. It was literally called Team Margaret. And Team Margaret always had to deal with, like, Margaret would make promises and Team Margaret would actually have to fulfill those promises. I'm wondering what's going on between Team Margaret and Margaret.
So you're not the issue here. Margaret's the issue.
Oh, it's a combination. We were, yeah. Let's just say there was no all villains between her and me.
But
anyway.
Yes. So this is just part of a larger trend of media companies getting sold and laying a lot of people off.
Yeah.
This is a continuation of that, and you're
gonna continue to see this. I mean, I don't know.
I hope so. Like, it's interesting listening to all the people on the most recent podcast, like, talk about this and deal with this. And to hear that, yeah, we all know that we're in a burning building metaphorically, and it's all just a matter of like, is like, how bad is this fire? And if you, I'm sure one of them at least will get a job at another media company that will also probably be slightly on fire. And the question is, how bad is this fire?
Mm-hmm.
Vice was a really bad fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I hope that the people there go on to do other things in media specifically, because so much of what they do is really, really insightful in a way that a whole other lot of podcasts, let alone gaming podcasts, are not.
Right. Right.
And I think it would be a shame if, like so many other game journalists, they eventually get a job in PR or making games,
Yeah.
which is what often happens. That happened to the founder of Waypoint, Austin Walker. He went off to go make a game, and he still does like some podcasts and some writing, but for the most part, like his voice is no longer in the gaming blogosphere, and it's lesser for that because he was a really insightful guy.
Yeah. Um,
And yeah, their sign off phrase for every show was "fuck
Fuck
capitalism,
capitalism, go
go
home.
home."
Yeah, I don't know that this is being felt the way it is in the Bay Area. I mean, obviously, we're getting more significantly hit
Well, yeah,
by
there's
what's going
the
on.
tech sector. Like, there's a tech sector and there's media, and it's not related, but it also is
It is
related
related.
because a lot of the media stuff is related to ads. Like, the ad supported method of websites just doesn't work.
No.
And a lot of what they talk about, the Waypoint crew on the last podcast, is that you can make a company that's sustainable. They had recently started a subscription service called Waypoint Plus that was like $5 a month, and they were saying like, that's sustainable. Like, they could have sustained themselves with the income from that, like, as a company, and done pretty well. But that's not what media companies are, right? They're not looking for something that's just sustainable. They're looking for something that grows year over year that can be sold for a profit down the line.
Right.
And so it doesn't matter if something just kind of grows a little bit at a time. That's that's not what any person or any company starting a media or news organization is actually looking to do.
Right. That was the demise of all news, all media. And I've said this is not something I mean, I've said this on this show 14 years ago when we started, that the problem with media of any kind is the same problem that we have with hospitals, with our healthcare system. When you take something that is so critical to the health and safety of people and government, and you turn it into a profit center, meaning you're running it like a business, that you need to make profit of a certain amount every year. And if you don't make that profit of a certain amount, then you're failed. Like, you only grow 5% a year. Well, why aren't you growing 20% a year? Why aren't you growing 12%? When it could be bought and sold as a commodity, the commodification of the First Amendment and the commodification of healthcare. I don't know if you saw the White House press corps dinner was held
Oh,
this weekend.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right. And I
What was it
forget
called?
the White House press corps dinner. White House press corps dinner. It is called the White House Correspondents
Oh,
Associations.
correspondence.
That's
Yeah,
a
that's what it was.
correspondence dinner. And the MC of it was Roy Wood Jr., who you will recognize him
Hmm.
from the Daily Show.
Yeah.
And he of course, did his shtick, did what he said, his normal, like, it's supposed to be comedians, supposed to be funny, and they're poking fun at the news, poking fun at the government, poking fun at everybody. And then he ended with a very serious note about how journalism is incredibly important to the running of a government, because only when the people know what's going on and when they're informed can we be good stewards of our own government. And when you're putting that information behind a paywall, that's a problem. And most national news stories start out as local stories. And when you have local newspapers that are failing and failing and failing, small stuff that are failing over and over again because they're not making certain amount of profits because they can't grow into a commodity, then you're doing a disservice. Then stories are going to get missed. And moreover, what stories they do get are locked out for most people that aren't going to pay $15 a month for the Wall Street Journal. I mean, how many times has AC Wraith not linked a story to the Wall Street Journal or the Business Insider or New York Times because it's behind a paywall?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, this is that same problem. And it's the same problem with healthcare, is that when you turned hospitals into a public service, away from a public service and into a commodity that needs to make money so that it can be bought and sold by different corporations, you're not going to get good service. You're not, it's all going to be about profit. It's not going to be about doing the right thing, doing a good job. So yeah, this makes me super sad. But if you don't think that this whole tech fallout isn't affecting a lot, I can guarantee you we're in San Francisco. Nick, I'm sure you feel it. You're right in the middle of Tech Central.
Mm-hmm.
It's palpable of what's happening here. People that never thought they would ever lose their jobs or would have a hard time getting a job are losing their jobs and not getting new ones. This is something that if you think it's just going to affect us in the Bay Area, think again, because it rolls downhill. And I'm sorry, but a lot of parts of the United States are going to be downhill from this. Where the Bay Area goes, California goes. Where California goes, because we bring the most amount of money to the federal government, it has long-term reverberations throughout the country.
I think specifically, like a lot of these tech companies laying off people because there was a big tech boom. But what you're seeing now, and a lot of journalism sites going under, going behind paywalls is a symptom of it, is a lot of the financial backbone of the internet that these tech companies had been relying on for so long isn't that stable.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of news and media organizations are getting sold. That's why a lot of tech employees are getting laid off, is because this advertiser-driven revenue stream is kind of proving to not really be that profitable for companies, and that you can't buy a company, then sell it later for a profit. It doesn't work.
It becomes like a Ponzi scheme. Like it's a pyramid scheme. Like I bought it and now I'm going to sell it at a profit. And then the next person bought it, it's going to sell it at a profit. The next person bought it, it's going to sell it at a profit. Eventually you're not going to make that profit. And that's when the pyramid falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chatterbox says, at least one thing Australia got right is free healthcare. Oh gosh, yes. Everybody, most of the world has it right.
Yeah. I mean, Australia needs it because every animal there can kill you.
And that's true. Everything out there is trying to murder you. But and honestly, there's a part of me that says you should also be thanking us for that. Because if you don't think there aren't people in your country who have thought, maybe we should get rid of the National Healthcare Service. Maybe we should maybe we should bring private equity into healthcare. The fact that the United States has done it and they could see what happens when you don't have it. We are a cautionary tale for the rest of the world that keeps it from happening elsewhere.
Yeah. Although Israel Hosting brings up a good point that Australia also lost the war to emus.
They did.
Mhm.
But we won the Australian-American War.
Oh, yeah. I learned that from GTA.
GTA. Yep, absolutely. That's what that's the thing. They don't want you to know. That's what good journalism is. Because they can tell you the truth about the Australian-American War. Why haven't we heard about it?
The government covered it up.
Big media doesn't want you to know, but we're telling the truth here.
Nope.
So,
emus.
Yeah. I'm
yes.
sad to see that happen. That really breaks my heart. But this is not the last one you're going to see of those. You're going to see a lot of this starting to really, and it's.
And so, for games specifically, I'll just have to wait to see where those people go and hope that, like I said, they land somewhere where the voices can still be heard, because they're really smart people.
A lot of them won't. A lot of them won't.
Oh yeah.
A lot of them will just leave. I mean, there's a reason why I stopped being a newspaper reporter at a local paper. I loved that job. I loved going to community meetings. I loved going to neighborhood meetings and then going to city council and finding out. And I loved that. There's a reason I haven't done it in 20 years. It's because I couldn't. Not that I didn't want to. If I had a choice, if I could go back to do it right now, I absolutely freaking would. Any minute of the day, I would go back to it. But it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. Not as a viable career.
Yeah, media seems like it's like you said, it's not a viable career. It's not something you do long term, and that's what's been really interesting watching like the Giant Bomb crew, especially after they went through their series of sales when the original 4 people left. One of the original founder, Jeff Gerstmann, has a Patreon of his own thing that's like the Jeff Gerstmann Show, and he does his own thing there. And the other 4 founding members have their own thing on Patreon called Nextlander. And I think it's interesting and important to kind of watch them closely to see what happens to them. They seem to be like sustaining themselves pretty well, but they're also like, they're kind of some of the oldest people in video games journalism. That's not just journalism, but like video game entertainment media. They're some of the oldest people doing that. And like they have made a career of it, but it's also like, what does that career look like? And it's certainly not at a company. It seems like the only way you could make a career of it is to do something either subscription based or creator based, right? Do it on YouTube where you are making your own content and you're not kind of beholden to a company, because no company is around long enough to make media a viable career anymore.
Yeah. I'm pulling up something. I'm hoping I can find a better one other than just a year. So every year there is a report that comes out of the worst jobs in America, and I'm showing you my Google feed. It's been coming out for the last 30 years. They've been doing this report. And about 20 years ago, when I was a newspaper reporter, the number 1 worst job in America was newspaper reporter. Number 1 worst job in America. And here it is, 2019. Worst job in America? Photographer is number 25.
Firefighter, dock worker,
welder, buyer, construction laborer, dock worker, firefighter, pest control worker is 11. Advertising salesperson is 9. 8 is broadcaster. 7 disc jockey.
Oh yeah, DJs aren't anywhere.
4 is retail salesperson.
So
3
okay, wait.
is newspaper reporter.
Scroll
The
up.
number 3 worst job in America, behind logger and taxi driver.
I feel like it says a lot about the country. Scroll up. Keep going. Keep going. The 5th worst job in the country is to be enlisted in the military.
Yeah. What does it say about being a newspaper reporter? That the only way to get that if you got a job as a retail salesperson, you would be improving your lot.
Yeah.
And the only way that you could worsen your situation is by being a logger or a taxi driver. And these are people that went to college. These are people that got 4 and sometimes 6 or 8-year degrees to do this job. You see here, none of these require a college degree. Not a single one of them requires a college degree, possibly broadcaster, possibly advertising. But the rest of them don't require a college degree. So you get to go to 4 years of school.
Oh, chef. Chef has got to be, chef is
God.
nightmarish.
Yeah, you could work in construction and make more money and have a better job. So yeah, that's what's 2019. I didn't look what was today, but it says a lot about the state of United States media and any kind of media really in the world. That's the situation we have. And this is just bad. Anyway, moving right along. This I don't get me worked up. Don't get me worked up about journalism in America and healthcare. Just don't. So the rest of the Activision Blizzard shit show that we were going to hold off for me.
Oh yes. So about a couple days after the UK blocked the merger, Ukraine's regulatory body approved it. And it's not too surprising. So Ukraine doesn't have any cloud gaming market. So that was not a concern for them, which I feel is kind of an important caveat.
Right.
But then they also joined Saudi Arabia, Brazil, Serbia, Chile, Japan, and South Africa, who have all approved the merger so far. And I think it's interesting to note that Japan approved the merger. The country, when all of the Congress people are like, let's see, you give Sony preferential treatment, and at the same time, they approved the merger.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not over for the Activision deal. It's just going to. In fact, Microsoft also signed yet another 10-year deal to bring Xbox games to a cloud gaming service called Enware, which is yet another cloud gaming service that I don't think anyone knew existed until this news story came out.
Yeah.
I can see you looking at the worst jobs.
I'm looking for the worst jobs. Where's the ranking? The 22 job ranking. That's the best jobs. I'm looking for the best jobs are software, lawyer, teacher, administrative assistant. Oh my God, really?
Well,
and nurse. The worst jobs, cleaner, and this is starting it from 25th to 21st. Cleaner, waiter, janitor, laborer, truck driver. Oh, I guess we made it out of the top 5. I don't see reporter. I don't see reporter on the list, dude.
That's because the job no longer exists.
Yeah. Stocking associate made number 14. Oh, that's bad. All right. I'm going to get you go to the next one. I have to go to the bathroom because I've had a little bit. Mock Gully. Hey, fun fact about Mock Gully. All right.
Okay.
100 times more beneficial bacteria for your gut than yogurt.
Okay.
Fun fact. It's good for you. I'm getting healthy.
Yes. Magoli is good for you.
It's good. It is good. Yeah. Part of a balanced diet. right there with Frosted Flakes.
Oh,
Part of a good breakfast.
AC Wraith says, I linked to 2022 worst. Reporter is number 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. I have to go to the bathroom and then take my bread out of the oven. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm going to talk about the Mario movie. This weekend, the movie is projected to earn enough that would officially put it over $1 billion, which would make it the second highest grossing film of the year. No, that would make it the highest grossing film of the year, with the second being Avatar: The Way of Water. So I think it's kind of wild to think about Mario and Avatar in the same sentence, the same thought process. But that movie is apparently raking in all of the money. And a lot of things are kind of coming up Nintendo, because in addition to that, Lego announced more Nintendo sets, specifically 4 Donkey Kong sets to go with the existing Mario Brothers sets. So there's a short article on Video Games Chronicle that's kind of about the movie and the reception for it and all that. But what I think is the most fun part of that article specifically is the little anecdotes we get about Shigeru Miyamoto as a person, and specifically how the script for the Mario Brothers movie was changed for Japan. It wasn't just translated from English. It was kind of rewritten. Same story, same general stuff, but just rewritten for a different audience. And part of that was because over the past decade, Miyamoto has developed an interest in TV morning drama shows in Japan. And so he kind of wanted to match the dialogue of those. And internally at Nintendo, he has a reputation for critiquing these. He has the title NHK, the joke title, NHK Morning Drama Critic. This is a quote from him himself. I check morning dramas every day and provide various critiques. Sometimes I'll praise them as being fantastic, and other times I'll point out their shortcomings. Gradually, I've become more outspoken, and even my wife has told me, I don't want to hear it. Go talk about it somewhere else. I find that morning dramas often have lively dialogue. Directors who emphasize ad-libs tend to create more engaging content overall. When a director or cinematographer is on set and says, okay, that's a wrap, I often think, I can't believe they approved that line. I realize that lively conversations are crucial for creating dramas. And specifically for the Mario Brothers movie, he says, for this Japanese version, we wanted to create a script that wouldn't be awkward when compared to the director's version. So we were involved in various ways up until the voice recording. But I just really like the idea of Miyamoto going around Nintendo's office talking about morning dramas, and everyone going, yeah, okay, we know, Miyamoto, we know, we hear it. You've said this before.
He likes dramas, like TV dramas.
Oh yeah, there's an article on Video Games Chronicle that's kind of about the Japan getting a unique script for the Mario Brothers movie, like not just translating it, but has an anecdote. Miyamoto got really into TV morning drama shows in Japan.
Soap operas.
And he has a reputation internally for critiquing them. He has the joke title of NHK Morning Drama Critic. And the short quote is, gradually I've become more outspoken, and even my wife has told me, I don't want to hear about it. Go talk about it somewhere else.
So he goes to work to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. That is a thing that I have got. I mean, I've told you I've gotten into K-dramas. Have you watched Crash Landing on You?
No. I mean, we haven't started almost anything really. It'll take us a long time to get to those. I'll list the things to watch.
No.
Really
you should watch Crash Landing on You, because remember, these are 1-hour shows and they're like 21 episodes. It is a you're not going to binge watch these. It's going to take you
Oh,
weeks and weeks and weeks to get through them.
I know. It'll still take us a long time to get to it.
All right. Okay. See? Look at that. I'm helping my intestines. I'm also probably not going to end up washing the other half of my car. Now. Because I don't think I should be anywhere near a car right now. I have polished off the entire bottle of Mackley. Granted, it's not very alcoholic, but it's still a little bit. So, next item is let's see what I've got. Whenever
I've
the
got...
net ease. Well, no, you just did one.
Okay.
Let me catch up. I got stuff. Jedi Survival
Oh, yes.
came out.
Yeah.
Jedi Survivor came out. And
I believe you need to say the full name, which is Star
Wars
Wars
Jedi
Survivor.
Right. I'm sorry, I missed a colon in this. They had a rough launch.
It's
it started before it even came
It's
out.
us.
That they were alerting like, hey, I know we're gonna be releasing in 48 hours, but I just want to give you a heads up. Gonna have some performance issues, but
So
we're gonna fix them.
going to bring this full circle, the Waypoint review of Star Wars Jedi Survivor is less a review of the game and more a review about the idea and process of reviewing a game that can change so much between review and release.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guy reviewing it was like writing about how I played it for some hours, but I knew that there was going to be a day one patch that was going to significantly change things. Should I keep playing and describe my experience of a game that kind of no longer exists for you? Should I wait? Like what
a great article.
Like what is the review process at this point?
Right.
And it's a really good, like,
insightful
review of the process of reviewing.
Right.
So yeah, people should go to read
I'm going to
that.
go back
It's
and
good.
read that. Anyway, so about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It was even before it released, there was a Respawn had said it's gonna be broken on release, but we're gonna fix it day one. I mean, we're gonna have a patch immediately. It's all gonna be fine. Don't worry. Please stay calm. Everything is okay.
And AC Wraith brings up that I think it was mainly PC.
Mainly PC.
He said, I've heard it's not as bad on console, but the PC version needs more work.
Right. Well, it's got some other things. We will get into that as well. So they acknowledged on Twitter that a percentage of PC players have been affected by a really tremendous amount of bugs. Specifically, players with, quote, cutting-edge multi-threaded chipsets designed for Windows 11 are encountering problems on Windows 10, and those with high-end GPUs coupled with lower-performing CPUs are also experiencing unexpected frame loss.
Okay. I actually find that very funny, and it makes me feel a little less bad for the people experiencing these issues, because it sounds like people experiencing the issues are the people that went out and bought the best new video card without upgrading the rest of the PC.
Right.
They're like, no.
Or they upgraded the PC beyond the capabilities of the game. Because remember, it's multi-threaded chipsets designed for Windows 11 are encountering problems on Windows 10. So if it's too big or too small, it has to be Goldilocks just right.
If you upgraded too much, if you have too good of a machine, and you know what? Fuck those elites. Those elitist,
they're capitalist anyway.
Those elitist PC users. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They've got all the disposable income to buy a 4090. Fuck them.
Yeah. So the team has already said that there isn't a comprehensive solution for the PC experience, obviously, because it's multiple different PC experiences that are having a problem.
Yeah.
They are working to address it. They are working on fixes that, quote, will improve performance across a spectrum of configurations, but they said that these these fixes are going to have to be tested, so it's going to be a little while. Respawn did go on to say that they're going to continue to monitor the performance across all platforms, and they will be providing updates. But also, if you are playing it now, I do want to give you a PSA. There is a game-breaking bug. Now, this is going to require a little bit of spoiler. It's not a main story spoiler, but does require a spoiler to alert you to this bug. So keep that in mind. If you want nothing spoiled and you just want to take the risk of doing it, go nuts. Just fast forward from here. But
I can we take a moment to look at this headline, which I think is hilarious. PSA : SWJ : S.
Actually, it should be SW:J :S. It should be more colons.
That's one of those moments
where
I look at that and go, the fact that I know what all that means, like, is that good?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a whole bunch of letters. It's like anyone else looking at that would go, what the hell am I looking at?
I'm wondering if I could actually write a head that is nothing but 3-letter acronyms or acronyms.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
I'm going to challenge myself to do that next week. So here's the game-breaking bug, and it is a major game-breaking bug. So according to a post out of Kobo, I have no idea what it is, but it has been confirmed elsewhere. After this, spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, starting now. After you complete the Chamber of Duality and ride the elevator out after helping the droid, make sure you meditate at the meditation site. If you don't, and if you die, it sends you back to the chamber, but there's no way to get out of the chamber. There is no exit. Fast travel is disabled at that meditation point, and the elevator won't open again. The only fix at that point is to start the game over.
Do you know how far into the game that is?
I have no idea because I haven't played it.
So that sucks. That's if you run past the checkpoint.
If you run past the checkpoint and you don't meditate, you're fucked because you won't be able to fast travel at that point, and you can't get back. You're stuck except to start the game over. So, and it is not just on PC. The poster that originally posted that was playing it on a PS5.
Oh.
And other users did say that they had the same problem on an Xbox Series X. So no matter what you're playing on, if you are in the Chamber of Duality and you pass a meditation point, meditate so that you can actually not break your game if you die there before you get to the next point. So there you go. There's your PSA for today. Next item.
Wait, I was just reading through to see.
God damn, SJWs can't even spell. Did I spell it wrong? It's SWJ. Did I spell it wrong? Let me see.
No,
I did right. Did I did it right? It is. So I didn't say SJW. I said SWJ.
No, that's. I think that's a joke.
Okay, all right. I want to make sure that I didn't do it.
No. Okay. So I have some interesting sales comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft released its Q3 quarterly statements, the results of fiscal quarter ending in March 31st. And the revenue from the Xbox content and services is up 3%, driven by Game Pass. But hardware revenue was down 30% year over year. And that's an interesting comparison point to Sony increasing its expectations for shipping PS5 units for fiscal year 23 to 25 million, which would make it the highest of any PlayStation.
Yeah, yeah. What was I reading? The place to let's see. According to Sony's I'm reading this out of GT Planet. According to Sony's financial fiscal year report for 2022, covering the 4 quarters up to the end of March 2023, so just last month, at least as of today, PlayStation 5 has now shipped 38 million consoles to players and scalpers that are stuck with warehouses full of PlayStation 5s. That's only just behind PlayStation 4's 40 million units over the same 2.5-year period since their respective launches, which makes PlayStation 5 the best-selling console to date from PlayStation.
Yeah.
And their Q1, which was, I guess, last year, would they mean, let's see, the fiscal year. So yeah, Q1. So it would be the beginning of last year. They saw it sell 6.3 million units. Wait a minute. PS4
I
the
think
gaps.
no, I think that's this year.
Yeah,
The
it must be
fiscal
this year.
quarter that ended in
6.3
March.
million units in Q1 of this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And
that's
so on
after Christmas. It's not like any big holidays or anything that people would buy consoles for, and they sold 6.3 million units in that quarter.
yeah, and so on shipped, not sold, which is an important distinction.
Mm-hmm.
But they shipped 6.3 million units in the first 3 months of 2023. And on the heels of that, they've increased their expectations for shipments to 25 million for the fiscal year 2023, which, if they hit it, would make it the best-selling PlayStation year of all time.
Yeah.
Well, for them, because let's see, the article I had said that the highest sales peak for PS2 was 22 million units. The highest for PS3 was 14.4 million. And the highest for PS4 was 20 million. So,
Pretty good.
PlayStation 5 doing really well for Sony.
And increasingly good for Sony. And we're saying that the first 3 months of this year, they sold 6.3 million units. The last 3 months of last year, which includes Black Friday, it includes Cyber Monday, it includes the Christmas season, they sold 7.1. So it's not equal, but pretty damn close. So they didn't beat it, but came very close enough to like raise an eyebrow to what they sold over the big sales holiday, and they sold that in Q1 when there's no sales holidays. So it's gaining momentum with the PlayStation, which kind of makes it very interesting. Well, I mean, it goes back to why the EU, or why the UK CMA was like, oh well, it's not a matter of consoles, it's a matter of cloud gaming, because the consoles,
Yes.
PlayStation is just even with Game Pass. If it weren't for Game Pass, God, can you imagine how bad Xbox would be owned right now?
Yes. I mean, I think that's something that we had talked about some weeks ago, is the fact that Xbox...
Game Pass is propping up Xbox.
Yeah, their struggles to make first-party games has made Game Pass kind of the... Like, normally, Halo and Gears of War were associated with Xbox, but now Game Pass is the best thing about it. And seeing these recent results about how their revenue is up 3%, but hardware sales are down 30%, it makes sense that Microsoft would kind of seem to focus on software as opposed to hardware.
Right.
Because that's clearly where their advantage lies.
Right. And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't turned on my PlayStation even before, when I think we've talked about that, when you couldn't find one. I was like, I'm kind of thinking I might want to sell my PlayStation. I probably should, because I was playing my Xbox when I had both consoles, both hardware in my house sitting next to each other. The one that was my go-to and still is my go-to is my Xbox, because of Game
Game
Pass
Pass.
because I could go on and I go, I should really try Hitman 3. Is it available on Game Pass? Oh, it is? I'm playing it.
And see, what's funny is I'm the opposite. My go-to is the PlayStation. Like if I'm
Because
gonna
you've got a
buy a
VR
game,
headset.
no, it was always that way. Like
Really?
that's one of the reasons I wanted the headset is because the PlayStation is kind of like my primary gaming console. I keep the Xbox around for Game Pass. I kept it because I want to play Atomic Heart. I want to play Loop Hero. I want to
Mhm.
play Mountain Blade Bannerlord.
Right.
Those are all on Game Pass. If I'm gonna buy a game, I'll probably buy it on PlayStation.
True.
But if there's a game that's available on Game Pass, I'll play it there.
So I entertained getting a PSVR more than I ever have in the last couple of days.
Why? What changed?
Hitman 3 is on PSVR.
Okay, wait. I'm going to dissuade you of this notion.
I know, but it just looks so fun. It looks silly and stupid and fun.
If it was available for PlayStation VR 2, I would say, yeah, totally get it. But from what I understand, it's only available for PSVR 1, and the two are not compatible with each other. That's a really big deal.
Can you play a PSVR 1 on your PS5?
You can play it on your PS5, but you have to get a PSVR 1 headset.
That sounds like a really good deal for me.
Okay, because the
Because
PSVR
you could probably get those used and or cheaper.
probably because those use outside tracking. Like the Wii, you set up a camera and you hold two move controllers.
Right.
And that's how it does the tracking. The PSVR 2 uses the inside tracking where you don't need a camera. The headset and the controllers like track themselves in the space. And so the two methods of tracking are so different, they're not compatible with each other. If I downloaded a PSVR game, I could not play it on PSVR 2. It needs to specifically be ported to PSVR 2.
Oh.
So, if you want to play Hitman in VR, don't get a PSVR 2. Just get a PSVR 1.
I'm curious, what are the prices of the PSVR 1? Because that might be fun. I'm curious enough. I'm that if I continue to enjoy Hitman 3 as much as I do, the idea of actually playing it VR, and yes, Call Me Kevin has played it in VR, and it's goddamn hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
There's it looks like a renewed one, a used one
Mm-hmm.
on Amazon for $107, but I'm looking at it and it looks like that does not include the motion controllers.
Okay.
I think PlayStation Move motion controllers. Yeah, what's just a PSVR set? The whole dang thing.
Let's see. Everybody else is on front of their computers right now. Go look it up. Let's see. PSVR 1 for sale.
It might still be a couple $100.
Yeah, I'm seeing PSVR electronics from Mercari.com that is $125 for the controllers and the headset and the camera, the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
$100. Good condition, only used a couple times, all wires included.
That's good. I don't know what Macari is.
I don't know what Mercari is either, which makes me concerned. Let's see, PSVR 2 headset on back market, $138.
That sounds like
PSVR at Goodwill finds for $119. Let's see. Pre-owned. Goodwill of Southern Wisconsin Metro Detroit. Goodwill finds, let's see, it doesn't say what it is, but it looks like it's a PSVR bundle with Doom. Does it have it does not have the controllers for $119 on Goodwill.
Okay, it looks like you can get a bundle that has the headset, the move controllers, and the camera with Iron Man
Does my
game
old camera work? Like, because I still have the
for
camera from the PlayStation 3 or probably
that.
PS4.
Uh, I don't know. See, look, this is
This is
evidence of how like Frankenstein the PSVR one was.
it really was.
Yeah, it looks like you can get a bundle with the headset, the controllers, and the
You
camera,
make
and
it
a
about the
game for
PlayStation.
350.
If let us not forget, Viva la Revolution, the Kinect. If the Kinect had had a headset, I guarantee you Microsoft would have Frankenstein to that as well.
Oh yeah, sure.
Let's see. PlayStation VR bundle, white. PlayStation VR headset camera, 2 move controllers, Marvel's Iron Man VR digital code for PS4 and PS5. And that bundle was $335. Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. It looks like a bundle that includes everything is probably about 300 to 350.
Yeah, I have to look to see if I still have my camera.
Oh, no, but that's not available anymore. So
Yeah, because I have a PS4 camera. Yeah, I have the PS4 camera. So in theory, I think that's the same camera.
maybe.
That's the one that like face tracks you in the whole 9 yards that I used like 3 times. Anyway, you moving right along to actual like news. Let's see. Speaking of PlayStation, PlayStation Plus's games for May are
Oh, it looks
out.
like you could get a used bundle for $200 on eBay.
That's entirely doable.
eBay is probably where you would want to go.
Right. Either eBay or Craigslist local.
Yeah.
PS Plus games for May. Here are your games. And when I said that, games that I'm going to like challenge the community, this is the moment. And I will absolutely go into PlayStation to do this because I own it on PlayStation. Descenders, Grid Legends, and wait for it, Chivalry 2. Chivalry 2 is going to be I don't know. Yeah, I guess as of tomorrow will be your PlayStation Plus free game for May. I've mentioned it a number of times on this channel, on the show. Nick is the one that got me into it. Absolutely silly, stupid, get yourself murdered all the time. Fun. So yeah, it's they have the recently updated Winter War Campaign Pass. So in this content, you visit Argon 2's final stronghold in a new team objective map. Nick, new map in Chivalry 2.
I could go for that.
The assault on Thyac Stronghold. You can also complete the Winter War Campaign Pass and slay enemies with the new quarterstaff weapon. So, yeah, if anybody wants to download that for PlayStation Plus free game, just send me notification in our Discord channel that you are playing. And when you want to play, I will absolutely freaking be there any minute of the day. I mean, as long as I'm not working, as long as it's not 9 to 5 or 8 to 6. Yeah, I will be there for you because I love Chivalry 2, but it's only really fun unless when you're playing with somebody else. It's all right when you're playing by yourself, but when you're playing with somebody else and you're just down for some good stupid fun, this is the game you want. The other 2 games, Grid Legends is the motor sport game that features race variety and narrative that puts you at the heart of the action, and of course the biking game Descenders. So if you want to get any of those, that's cool. They're going to be available starting May 2nd. So that is going to be Tuesday. And don't forget, you have to claim your April PlayStation Plus games ASAP because they're about to be unavailable to you. Those are Sackboy, Big Adventure, Meet Your Maker, and Tales of Iron. So jump on those while you can.
Yeah, I should get those. I don't think I downloaded them.
Yeah, you need to do that and you need to do that like now because they're literally about to go off. Speaking of things that are about to go off, other the free games and games coming and going from Microsoft. So we have, let me get to that. Where is it? Places, NetEase, Microsoft's next round of games for Game Pass are going to be Minecraft Legends. It's already available. Redfall is going to be out on Tuesday as well. In addition, currently that it was just recently added in the last week, Coffee Talk Episode 2, Hibiscus and Butterfly, Homestead Arcana, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle Special Edition, and The Last Case of Benedict Fox. Also, if you are interested in these games, you need to jump on them today because they're available only until the end of today. I don't know what time. So if you're interested in these, go download them right now. The titles that are going to be leaving as of tonight/tomorrow is Bugsnax Destroy All Humans, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Tetris Effect Connected, and Unsold. So you have until today to get those 4 games, and if you want to keep them, then you have
wait, are those games from Games with Gold or Game Pass?
Game Pass.
Okay, well then it doesn't matter if you download them, you won't be able to play them.
Well, you can get 20% off if you.
Oh, okay. If you want to buy them.
If you want to buy them, so download them now, play them. If you like them, buy them because it's 20% off because you bought them through Game Pass. But that only lasts for tonight. That's it.
No. Well, the stuff coming out for Game Pass in May, you have Redfall.
We already talked about Game Pass, right?
No, the new games coming to Game Pass.
Coffee Talk Episode 2, Hibiscus Butterfly, Homestead Arcana, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle Special Edition, Last Case of Benedict Fox, Redfall, and Minecraft Legends.
Oh, I have a different list. The Redfall on May 2nd.
Right, that's what I said.
Ravenlock on May 4th. Which looks like a coming of age action adventure game. Fuga Melodies of Steel on the 11th, which is a turn-based strategy game.
Are those on PlayStation 5?
No, this is Game Pass.
PC.
Game Pass.
Right, but are they PC or sorry, not PlayStation? Are they PC or are they console?
Oh,
because I only included the console stuff.
It looks like both a console so far. I'm on Xbox's website.
I've already pre-downloaded Redfall, by the way.
Oh, okay. The one I'm personally most excited for is on May 23rd, Amnesia: The Bunker, which is the fourth game in the Amnesia horror series. And then I
don't even remember the Amnesia horror series. Is that bad?
Maybe. They're very famous. They're very good scary games.
Yeah, see, I don't do scary games.
Yeah. And then finally, on May 25th, a game that might be more up your alley is Railway Empire 2.
Oh, yeah. Anything Empire or Sim or Builder, bring it.
Yes. And then, my bad, the actual final one on May 30th is Fall World Pioneers, which is a pixel open world sandbox survival sim.
Sounds interesting. I think I'm probably going to be playing, depending on how Redfall goes. I may be playing quite a lot of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very
maybe boot it up.
Yeah, I mean you should if you're going to boot it up, I recommend you go and pre-download it because you know that it's going to be hell on the day of. So just go pre-download.
It'll be fine. I'm not in any rush.
That's true. You got lots of stuff to do.
Yeah.
You got to go watch Crash Landing on You. All right. So let's see what else I got.
Well, I have one that I probably should have brought up earlier.
Okay.
This was a point. It wasn't really a news story, but more of an interesting point about the PSVR 2 sales. Someone had a tweet comparing the sales for PSVR 2 in the first month with all the other sales for VR headsets over the years,
Mhm.
over their respective months. And if the sales for Sony were true, the 270,000 units, then that would actually make it one of the best-selling headsets. Let's see if I can. Yeah. Okay, I'm
PSVR
sharing.
2 selling the most amount of headsets is a bit like saying that
Well,
Microsoft's cloud gaming is 80% of the market.
hmm,
Not gonna lie.
I don't know what that means.
It means that it's not succeeding because it's that great. It's succeeding because of the failure of others. It's succeeding because
Oh,
Oculus is, not it's got its own problems that are
well,
endemic to Oculus.
I'm. I mean, I don't think Oculus was failing. It's not. It's not so much that it's failing or not. Basically, so when you're looking at this, you can see that in the first month, PSVR 2 sold 270,000 units, which was rumored to be way below what Sony expected. But if that's true, that
I'm
makes
not
it
seeing that. Wait. Point this out. Okay, PSR 2, 270. Okay, good. Okay.
like one of the best-selling headsets, because it already sold more than the Steam Index or the Pico 4 in its first month. A lot of the other headsets we don't have first month sales for, but month 3, it sold more than the Oculus Rift did in its first 3 months.
Yeah,
That
the
would make it,
Oculus One, but month 4 of Oculus One, it's like half that amount.
yeah. And so
And month
in
12 of Oculus 2 is Oculus One. Oculus One.
yeah, and so that puts it on track to sell pretty well, because we only have 1 month of data point. And so I think if anything, the 270,000 units might, compared to other VR headsets, it doesn't seem like it's selling poorly.
It's not
It's
selling
actually
poorly. No,
it's
I won't say
selling
that.
quite a lot compared to other VR headsets. If anything, it just shows that Sony's original expectations may have been wildly, wildly overestimated.
I think everybody's estimates of VR is wildly overestimated.
I think that's true.
I think that's kind of the defining quality of VR headsets.
Yeah.
With the exception
So
of possibly the Oculus Quest or Oculus Quest 1, because everybody believed the hype. Now let's see, Oculus Quest 2,
yeah, Oculus
month
Quest
13
2.
by the after the first year. Actually, it's kind of funny. If you look at those numbers between Oculus 1 and Oculus 2, it tells a very interesting story.
Yeah, it
So
tells
month
a
4,
huge story.
you got a lot of people buying in, right? And then by the end of the first year, a ton of people buying, and then it just bails. Everybody bailed.
Yeah, and
Oculus
then they
2 comes
stopped
out.
reporting numbers.
Right. Oculus 2 comes out. It took about 6 months, and then or about 5 months, and then a ton of people bought in. A year later, a ton of people bought in. 2 years later, even more people bought in. And then we're looking at month 38, month 30. You're not seeing those numbers anymore. I would venture to guess that has
It's
gone down
probably
quite
tailed off.
a bit.
But I mean, 14 million units is nothing to scoff at.
No, it's not.
That's a huge deal.
What do you think when you say that it's wildly overestimated for the success of the PSVR 2, do you have any numbers for what they were expecting the PSVR 2 to sell?
I think it was like twice that. Let's see, PSVR 2.
They just want us to like VR more than we do. They just do.
Yeah, if anything, it just proves one of the reasons I got the PSVR 2 is because VR is not a sustainable thing, and I'm really happy that someone invested so much money to make a really cool headset that is absolutely not financially responsible. It will not give them the return they hope for. It was a bad investment, but they made a really genuinely awesome gadget out of it, and I'm glad someone invested that much effort into such a black hole of technology.
That's how I felt about First Republic Bank. until and Margaret was great until my money got frozen.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, Blood Reaper actually asked an interesting question. Who's playing
Okay,
Dead Island
okay.
2?
Wait. So, this is from Tom's Guide. The PSVR 2 sold 270,000 units between February 22nd launch date and the end of March. That's a drop in the bucket compared to Sony's reported goal of 2 million units produced during the launch window.
They wanted that to be a 2,000 instead of 200. That's like less like 10% of what they were expecting.
If that goal of 2 million units in the launch window, which when you look at this chart to see the actual sales of other headsets, 2 million in the launch window
It was
is insane.
unrealistic.
That's twice, according to this chart, that's twice what the PSVR 1 sold in its first 4 months.
That's Square Enix estimates.
Yeah. Yeah, look, the PSVR 1 sold 1 million units in 8 months. That means they expect the PSVR 2 to double that in 1 month.
Dang.
Yeah, you can see PSVR 2 took about just over a year to hit 2 million units.
I thought drugs were illegal in Japan. Because I don't know what they were smoking, but I want some, and they might want to have some Narcan on hand. Seriously, that's insane to think that they were going to sell that much.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting to just put that into perspective that like, oh no, according to when you compare it to the actual market, it's doing pretty well. But when you compare it to these insane over the moon expectations,
Right.
that seem to have no basis in the actual
Reality.
market.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by Square Enix numbers, that they set these unrealistic goals that nothing could, it won't hit it. So that by definition, it is set to fail. It is set up to be a disappointment. It
Yeah.
can do nothing but fail. AC Ray says it's Tony Stark's holographic chamber. No, you know what? I don't know what Tony Stark's holographic chamber is. It's the freaking Ionic 5 with the heads up display. That's. I almost want to go back out and test drive cars again, and I want to test drive cars with you so you can see that thing, because that thing's awesome. It's awesome. But I don't want to go back and test drive the Ionic 5, because then I'll go, man, I wish I bought that instead of the Tesla. Anyway, my next item.
I have other kind of related dunking on Sony news.
Oh, sure. Dunk on Sony.
The teaser trailer for the Twisted Metal TV show on Peacock.
Oh, yeah.
Finally released. And it looks okay. Do you remember Powers? Like several years ago, Sony had this idea that they would produce their own TV shows for the PlayStation Network.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be free for people that subscribe to PSN. Like they wanted to kind of do the Netflix thing where they would produce TV shows along with games.
Powers. Right. Powers. I actually really liked Powers.
Yeah,
a lot.
I enjoyed the first season.
I thought it was really good.
The second season was really meh.
And I didn't see the second season. Did I see the second season? I don't remember. But the first season was not horrible.
No. But one of the things about it is that it just kind of looked cheap. Like it had a look to it where it's like it really looks like you're filming on a set. It just had that look of like
it felt raw. It did not feel as polished as you would have expected it to be.
Yeah, and so I feel like this trailer kind of looks the same. There's something about the lighting that just kind of makes it look it doesn't look cinematic.
Oh God, I had that CD player in my car, in my Audi when I was in. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I agree, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I think that if you can't make it look thoroughly polished, you need to embrace it not being polished. If you get a run in your nylons, you're better off, instead of trying to stop the run and hide it, to just rip the rest of the nylon so it looks like a look. And that's what that would be. Is I think that they are embracing that kind of, indie feel to it.
Okay.
And I got the same thing out of Powers, but it wasn't quite so it wasn't quite so feeling intentional, and I think that they would have benefited by embracing by like actually leaning into that aesthetic. Peacock, I'm hoping that they do lean into it so it feels less like it's a bug and more a feature of the show.
I want to see more of it.
Yeah. I'm curious.
Yeah.
But I was not a big fan of Twisted Metal. Just wasn't.
No, neither was I. I didn't really care that much for it, but hey, it's another big video game TV thing. I guarantee you, it is going to be unfavorably compared to The Last of Us. It's going to. It's
Yeah, it
unfortunate.
kind of sucks that it's coming on the heels. It's like, following up on Last of Us. It's kind of unfair to anything. Somebody had to be that one that came right after Last of Us, so it might as well be Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it. I probably won't watch it very much because I didn't like the game very much, and I don't really particularly like the genre very much, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I might watch the first episode to see if it's any good.
Hey, the Cyberpunk show, you were the one that convinced me to watch what's the name of the Cyberpunk?
Edge Runners.
You were the one that convinced me to watch that. God, that's a good show. God, that is a good show.
Yeah.
It's way better than the game. Way, way better than the game. And I say this as someone who's not played the game. Because I like money, particularly mine. I don't like to waste it. All right. So speaking of, I can't do it. I don't have a segue. All right, Tomb Raider. New Tomb Raider game has been leaked. And it's not the one you think. We've talked about the Crystal Dynamics doing a Tomb Raider. If you recall, Tomb Raider was sold by Square Enix to Embracer Group.
Yeah, and I think they entered a deal with Amazon.
Oh yeah, no, they're leaning into the whole everything they bought. They're going to make sure that it makes them money, a lot of it. But this was a leak that actually came courtesy of the ESRB, the Entertainment Safety Ratings Board. I think that's what it stands for. We know that Crystal Dynamics is working on the next Tomb Raider game, but the ESRB, and not this week but last week, rated a new game for the Nintendo Switch called the Tomb Raider Collection. That has a game that has not been announced. I would imagine it's probably being done by Square Enix. I mean, under Square Enix's license as opposed to Embracer's license. But the description in it to the ESRB notes that it is, quote, a collection of 2 action adventure games with a, quote, 3/4 overhead perspective, and it is rated T for teen. So that means it could not be any of the 3 games in the most recent trilogy because those are all M. So
and also, like, why would you release a collection of 2 games when there's a trilogy?
Right. And it's also, those games are over the shoulder, third person point of view. So they're not in that 3/4 overhead perspective. So
all the Tomb Raider games are third person.
Well, there's debate within the Reddit community, and the general belief is that it is a collection for Guardians of Light and Temple of Osiris, which were Tomb Raider spin-offs that were originally available digitally.
Yeah, the co-op games.
Right. So they're not really part of the core series, but that they
Hmm.
are in that universe.
That makes
So
sense.
that's apparently coming to Switch, at least according to what the ESRB is rating. And it could be fairly soon because the ESRB only rates things once it's at the end of its development cycle. They would not be getting that ESRB rating if it was at the beginning or even the middle of it, because they can't give a rating to something that is still in development. At least the story and most of the game should be fairly done. So if you have a Switch, keep your ears and eyes open. Expect to see in fairly soon a Tomb Raider collection coming to your Switch near you.
Hmm. You know what? The Switch seems like a proper.
It's a perfect place for that. That
Yeah,
those Tomb Raiders, absolutely perfect place for that.
yeah.
All right. You got anything else? Because I got a couple of phone ones.
Yes. So Square Enix, they want to push for their AI thing, right? They want to push for the AI in games. They want to push for
Yes.
crypto.
Oh, I forgot about this one. Yes, I'm so glad that you brought this up.
So they had previously announced that they were going to re-release a 1983 text adventure game called The Portopia Serial Murder Case.
Mm-hmm.
It had never come out in America. And like old school text adventure typing commands into a thing, right? Like you have to type
Right.
open door
It's
to
like
open a door.
Zork.
Yeah. And it wasn't going to use AI as in anything. It was just going to use a natural language processing to interpret the player's input. Because like when you go back and play some of those old text games, it can be really frustrating to try and figure out what the game wants you to say, right? Like if you say open door, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, it meant open fence. It's like, well, like what am I going to open? What word do you want me to say? And so the idea, in theory, of using natural language processing to learn commands, more natural commands for this
Natural
type of
language.
input, like that seems like such a good idea, right? It seems like a perfect fit. Turns out it was not. What's the
I
meme?
don't know what
No,
bargain basement AI they found, but it was not Chat GPT. That's for one thing.
it seems like it should be a great idea. Arrested Development of announcer's voice. It was not.
It was not.
Apparently, for some reason, the this natural language processing is so bad at interpreting what users want to say that the original game is probably more intuitive and better.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard it. I've read texts on Reddit of these horrible logic loops that just go in circles and you can't get out of, and even if you try and like jumpstart them out of it, you still can't get them out of it.
Yeah.
Um, it
The
is all bad.
one example on this Kotaku article is that of how you need the exact text is that if you thought kick door would work, but the developers wanted you to ram door, then you would be stuck.
Right.
Like you would hope the AI would understand that, but nope.
Mm-hmm. It's all kind of fails, and it's a sad thing because the technology is there. 1,000%. That technology is so there.
Oh,
And this is
absolutely.
the perfect game to do it for. But somehow they fucked it up by either not getting the right AI, or I don't know exactly how they blew this, but they blew it bad.
Yeah, and like because it seems like such a good idea of using this like AI natural language processing that has proven to work pretty well and to apply that to a genre of game that is known for being frustrating with text inputs.
Right.
How you can mess it up that badly just it speaks to a level of incompetence with all this technology that makes me doubt Square Enix could ever do anything good with like, look, we already doubted their crypto games, but when they can't hit a first base with something that should be a home run like this, it brings into question, what are they going to do with some sort of technology that's actually more challenging?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like, this was a perfect test bed for like AI in games,
absolutely.
and
No
they managed to
question.
screw it up
No question.
so completely.
And I would, a little while ago, I would have said that this was a failure in the abilities of AI to be able to appreciate, understand the nuance of human conversation, except that doesn't exist anymore as of GPT chat. Have you played with that at all?
I haven't.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I did not do it. And then uh, I wanted to write in more tech news, there's a robot that was worth millions unalive itself after 5 minutes of putting box on conveyor belt. Really? Unalive itself.
Oh, I think I saw the video of that. Like burst into flames.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I wanted to write a humorous, I don't know if I mentioned this to you. Maybe it's somebody else. I wanted to write a humorous email to my company because I needed them to I sent out invoice worksheets. I needed them to improve their invoices so that they could send it back to me so I could send out the invoices. They hadn't done it because we're sending it out to 20 people. And I don't want to be that person. I talk about like, you don't want angry Edie. Remember who orders your snacks. You want to keep me happy. But I had already used that card. So I decided that I was going to send out a humorous email, and I wanted it to be a script for a television show between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, the girlfriend trying to explain that she's breaking up with her boyfriend because she's just not getting what she needs from their relationship, and she's gonna break up if he doesn't change his ways. And I wanted that thing that she needed to be the invoicing worksheet. So I thought I could write this and I'd have to work at it, or I could put that request into GPT chat. And I put it into GPT chat and it spit out a full like scene from a television show. And I'm like, it's not quite funny enough. I said, do it in the style of Friends. And it redid it in the style of Friends. I'm like, redo it in the style of Aaron Sorkin. Redid it in the style of Aaron Sorkin. I'm like, yeah, this is a little too sappy. I want it to be funnier. It redid it funnier.
Huh.
It's
Wow.
terrifying how good it is. And I honestly, there's a part of me that has been entertaining the idea of doing a show, one of these episodes, one of our podcasts that is run by AI that tells us what we should talk about next.
Hmm.
And that we actually let it be the producer of the show. And the thing is, it'd probably be a better show than what we make. You should go in there. Just talk to it. It's odd and scary and interesting. And the fact that that technology is literally available to me on my freaking phone. And they couldn't get it right in a Square Enix game where it should have been child's play.
They
The
should just
hard part is done.
should just pay the fee to use ChatGPT.
Should just pay the fee. Should just pay the fee. Absolutely. Just pay the fee for the API and just run it.
Yeah.
I'm staggered that Square Enix could screw that up and screw it up so badly and so so conspicuously, especially because there's so much conversation being done being had about chat GPT, because people are discovering how crazy good it is and how crazy scary it is, how alarmingly scary it is, alarmingly good. So yeah, I'm terrified of it, but at the same time, go play with it. Go play with it. And if you haven't, please do. Any of you, just go look, so you can see what the future of Skynet is. $20 million, did 9 boxes, quit. What is this?
That's the robot.
Oh, yeah, I'll look that up. My mother got so sick of the parser in the VIC-20 days that we just typed in insults. Oh, wow. There takes me back, the VIC-20. That's
that.
Yeah, that's back in my day. That's right up there with the Amiga and the Commodore 64. Actually, I think the VIC-20 is like right after the TRS-80, right?
You're asking the wrong person.
I know.
I don't know any of these. You're just making up letters.
No, I'm not. That was the very first computer that I ever wrote a program on, was a TRS-80.
I had an AC-202.
What's an AC-202?
Yeah. And a FAL 30.
You're making these things up.
I know. But you couldn't tell.
TRS-80 is a real thing. It was Texas Instruments. A VIC-20 was a Commodore before the 64. Okay, so that it was a TRS-80, and then VIC-20 came in before the Commodore 64 came out. Got it. All right. Because TRS-80 was like the first. Right up there with the IBM, with the amber. Like that was the big thing. Instead of it being green, it was amber.
Oh, I remember those. Yes, I've seen pictures of those.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's see. My next item is, okay, I got a couple of fun ones. They are both Elden Ring related, so I'm gonna bang those out all at once. You okay with that?
I've got, the last thing I've got is a recommendation for you of a game you might enjoy.
Okay, you recommend, and then we'll end on the Elden Ring stories.
This seems like it might be something like in between the two of us, because it's a turn-based tactics game.
All right.
But it's also a mercenary management sim. It's called War Tales. It's out on Steam. It just left early access.
I am looking it up right now. That is so intriguing to me. What was it called? War Tales?
War Tales.
Tales?
Yeah, Tales. And I've heard just a lot of really high praise for it, and whenever I hear high praise for a management sim, I think of you.
See, War Tales, all one world, open world RPG in which you lead a group of mercenaries in their search for wealth across a massive medieval universe. This sound right?
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Okay. Let's look at this. All right, adding to stream. It already looks to me like what was that? It was the one in Poland. The RPG in Poland where it was like super involved.
I don't know.
Let's see, anybody in the chat room want to see if I can bring it? Medieval Poland RPG game was Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Libsyn just charged me. Yay, Libsyn. By the way, new episodes are up on Libsyn.
Cool.
So yeah, this looks very scripty. Let's see what the fighting is like. All right, I could see this. This could be definitely between you and me, like that interesting cross section of just so
just
turn based. Now, where's the management part? I'm very curious. So it's in early access. Oh, fishing, of course.
Oh no, it left early access.
Oh, Yeah,
So
it's not a medieval RP. It's not an RP. It's not a builder of any kind unless it has fishing. It's kind of like it's an MMO if it has dancing. It's
oh
a
yes,
it's a
yes,
sim. It's a builder sim if it has fishing.
fair.
Yeah. All right. So it left early access. What's the reviews of it now?
All very positive.
No?
Yeah.
How did you find out about
Waypoint.
it? I'm sorry. That's really gonna hurt you, isn't it?
I know they put out so much. They put out 2 podcasts a week, which is a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I know. I've done it 2 podcasts a week. It is a lot of work.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, that's gonna do we know when Waypoint gonna be is it stopped
Yeah.
now?
No, they're going for another month. June 2nd is the last day.
All right. So we can send them our love. I think it
Mhm.
would be kind of neat to flood their channels. Flood their channels for the last month so that they know that they're appreciated because remember when we're talking about yeah, it's a corporation. Um and the corporation is the one that's shutting it down, but the product is the work of individuals who are journalists, who are content producers, and they need to know that their life work wasn't in vain. So go subscribe to them now.
Yeah. I'll go buy something for the merch store.
Buy something. Absolutely. All right, so here's my Elder Scroll stories, and we will end with those. So there's 2 of them. First off was so do you know the Godskin duo in Elder Ring?
Yes.
All right. So I have not played Elder Ring. So I had to figure this out and find this out. So these are I mean, there's Elden Ring has a lot of masked monsters in in like things you don't see their faces. But there is this one particular pair called the Godskin duo. And you don't really see their faces, not because they don't want you to see, like they're not avoiding it. It's just that they have robes. And there's 2 of them. There's like a bigger one, and then there's a taller and lankier one. And both of them, their faces are mostly obscured by their robes. So
I mean,
um
technically, they're not robes; they're flesh. When
they're
they say
flesh.
God skin, they mean it literally,
Okay.
because this is Elden Ring.
Right. So recently on Reddit, someone posted a picture of what the Godskin duo actually look like.
Hmm.
And the taller, lankier one looks suspiciously familiar. Who does that look like to you?
That kind of looks like Mark Zuckerberg.
Exactly what everybody's saying. It's Mark Zuckerberg, or at least close enough that everybody is calling him. In fact, one person called him Mark Zuckerberg. What was it? Mark Zuckerberg looking fucker. Everybody's making the same joke about this. So let's see if I can get that. Stand by. I'm going to pull it in a bigger picture. There we go. So yeah, looks eerily like Mark Zuckerberg. And then somebody else mentioned the the guy on the left, the beefier one, kind of looks like Jeff Bezos.
Oh, you know what? I see it. I see
Yeah.
it.
Could this be an Easter egg? That it's Bezos and Zuckerberg. In fact, somebody wrote Bezos and Zuckerberg in their final forms. So yeah, and now all they need, and I mean, the question is now, where's Elon in the game? If this is truly an
Mm.
Easter egg, they've got to have Elon somewhere. So people are looking for Elon now in all of these masked characters. So anybody have any opinions about this? I think the one on the right definitely looks like Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Bezos, yeah, it could go either way.
Like
Bezos
maybe.
also has doesn't have a distinctive face as Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but like there's something about the chin and like the facial structure that I think does look like Bezos.
Let's see, Jeff Bezos. Let me see images. Yeah, let's.
Oh, I
Pull up this
guess
one here.
Bezos is like more round. He's got a really round head. It looks like Jeff Bezos if just Bezos was a badass.
Let's see. Oop, nope, no. Do not go into that. There we go. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. Absolutely.
Yeah, like if Bezos had a more defined, a more square chin.
Yeah. Yeah, and if Zuckerberg had dark hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it is. I absolutely think that's what it is. He's got a more prominent brow as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think this was intentional? Do you think that this is just accidental, guys, in the chat room? I'm curious to know your opinion because they are absolutely Bezos versus Mitsubishi epic rap battles. Okay, great.
Like if it was just the Bezos one by itself, I would say it's coincidental because that looks like a generic bald tough guy face.
Right. I mean, it
But
also could be the dad on Everybody Loves Raymond.
no, yeah. Or the guy from The Shield.
Oh, the guy from The Shield.
Yeah.
Any bald guy with a prominent chin.
Yeah. But the Mark Zuckerberg one looks so weirdly like Mark Zuckerberg.
And then put him and attach him right next to.
Yeah, and to make them a pair feels like it's more of like some internal joke someone had.
It's a little too much coincidence for it to be accidental.
Yeah.
So that was number one, my first fun Elden Ring story. The other one, and I'm so glad that we are ending the story in this. So you remember Let Me Solo Her, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy who could who would essentially be available to fight Melania. He would show up naked except for like the bucket head, and he would solo Melania, and was so kind of infamous for being able to do this that what's the name of the company that made Elden Ring?
Bandai Namco.
Bandai Namco.
Yeah. Oh, From Software.
From Software sent him a katana and a bunch of other cool stuff in a personalized box because he was like kind of the mythical creature of the Melania fight. Is if you saw that prompt come up that Let Me Solo Her came up, you knew that you could just let him go and he would solo Melania for you. Well, Let Me Solo Her has his own channel, of course. And he managed to complete a very impressive Elden Ring run where every NPC in the game was turned into Melania. So he did an entire game that was nothing but Melania fights. And
that's nuts.
Yeah, that is nuts.
I saw AC Wraith linked where someone beat Melania in 15 seconds.
Wow, really?
By buffing themselves up so much. I saw that. But what is this where every enemy is Melania?
Every enemy, every NPC is Melania. And he did it completely naked, and he did it without leveling up his vigor. 0 vigor. He just soloed everything. Now, it took 10 hours of playtime.
I mean, that's not bad considering how long Elden Ring is.
Yeah. And his quote was, it took about 10 hours and probably more deaths than I'd like to admit, but I finally finished Everything is Melania Run, he wrote. It was fun as fun as it was painful. No leveling vigor was a mistake. So yeah. So there you go. If you want to see it, it is available on his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is his YouTube channel is Let Me Solo Her. You can go follow it, watch it, and see him if you want to watch all 10 hours. Well, this is only 55 minutes of it. But if you want to see the whole thing, this is the finale. But if you want to see the whole thing, you can watch him do where every NPC is Melania.
Oh, geez, you're right. I'm at the beginning, and it's like, the animals in the world are also Melania.
Mm-hmm. Every NPC is Melania. No, his goal was no leveling vigor, get the jar helm, and then beat the game. So absolutely everything in it is Melania.
Oh my God, they're everywhere.
Everywhere. And not only that, multiples in some cases. But he's good, man. He has got that thing down. He watching, even when he fails, you see how good he is at this. But he's got her down. He knows her knows her rhythm.
Yeah,
He sees things before anybody else does.
Once you get in that rhythm, like it's not, you can do it. I know. I subscribe to her Twitch channel. The girl who did the one-handed, who did it one-handed, who did it with the dance pad,
in one hand,
then the dance pad and controller together. I know she's now doing an Elden Ring one. She might have finished it by now, considering how fast these things go. Doing it with one finger.
Oh,
where
gosh.
She's got a controller and is only using one finger at a time.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And all the final forms too. I didn't realize that it was all the multi-stage forms. Good Lord. So every single fight was this long, epic fight. The 3-stage fight of it. Oh my God. No wonder it took 10 hours.
He probably ran past so many of them.
Yeah, he had to have, because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to finish it in 10 hours, because each of these fights is just long, really long. But dude knows what he's doing. He can solo him. Doing it naked with no vigor and a jar hat.
I like that the requirement was I have to get the jar and then beat the game. Like, that's the only requirement.
So yeah, if you want to look it up, like I said, look for on YouTube as Let Me Solo Her. I would imagine he probably already has a Twitch channel. I can't imagine he can't imagine he wouldn't. I mean, how would you not have that Twitch? I would watch that Twitch channel and I don't even play Elden Ring, and I would watch that. Absolutely. All right, so we have hit the awkward part of the day where the sunlight is coming through. So it's probably time for us to wrap up the show. Can we end the show now? You good with that?
No.
Please?
No.
Anything else you want to talk about? I mean, we've even outlasted Shepard. Shepard is no longer sitting on you. It hasn't been for the last couple of hours.
He left. He bailed.
Yeah, he bailed. He's done with you.
Shepard, you wimp, you coward. He's now scratching at the carpet trying to, because he wants me to let him out.
But Jupiter is still behind you, and he's perfectly happy.
No, he's not. Jupiter left.
Oh, Jupiter left? Oh, God. We've even outlasted the cats.
Jupiter left and hasn't come back.
Jupiter's like, fuck off. Let Me Solo Her streams live on YouTube. Not sure about Twitch. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I would totally watch him. Even if it was in the background while I was doing dishes. Just wait until Let Me Solo Her comes out and it's a girl. No, it's a guy. He actually talks. If you want to actually hear what I think he's actually, I'll unmute this so you can hear it. But he actually is talking while he's doing this.
No, I'm sorry. Oh, now we don't have the element of surprise.
Yeah, see, so it's a guy.
Hmm.
Either that or it's a girl with a really deep voice.
We got it, you know.
So yeah, that's Let Me Solve. So yeah, go ahead. Yeah. It's all right. Now you know when you go there, you can actually watch them. Anything else, Nick, please?
No,
Please.
I've got nothing.
Come
Unless you
on.
wanna see a video of Miss Mika doing a one finger
Sure.
run.
Pop it on.
Okay.
Do you guys want to? Do you want to watch the one finger run, or do you want to like just
Oh no, I don't.
Be released from this hellhole?
Mind you, when I say that, I mean it's a 6-hour video. This is just one of her attempts. But you can
So
just
she's
see.
just doing like this.
You can see in the upper right.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I'm impressed that she can even like move at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And yeah, you can see. Oh yeah, she's just doing it up here in
in the upper right, you can
upper
see
right hand corner. You can actually see the camera on her.
which I feel like you need to have the camera on the controller to prove that that's what you're doing.
Right. How is she moving?
She's locked on to
Uh-huh.
the boss. That's why the camera's moving.
Okay.
And she's like it looks like she's using maybe one knuckle to move the stick while also like sliding back and forth to do the hits. It looks like she's changed the controller configuration so
Mhm.
that attacks are on the face buttons instead of the trigger buttons.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, I mean you'd have to do that.
Yeah. God, this game makes me want to play it, if only because I would really love to become really good at this game, because this is it's kind of like what I mean. I'm totally dating myself. Back in my day, if you wanted to be cool, no matter what you look like, no matter what your body type, no matter how popular you were, no matter how ugly, what your skin looked like, if you could skateboard really well, you owned the school. And it's kind of like this. It's like you don't have to look like anything. Don't have to be any age. You don't have to like fit any conformity of what things should look like. If you're good at Elder Scrolls, you're going to catch
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. You're going to catch mad props from the gaming community. Like no one is going to begrudge you that simply because you're a 50-something-year-old woman.
I mean, I played Elden Ring. I put 150 hours into it. I'm not that good. I'm nowhere near that good.
Yeah, but you'd have to put in more than 150 hours. You'd have to look at it as being like, I want to get good at this game, as opposed to I want to complete this game.
But like, do you want to dedicate that much time to something?
There's an element of it that's like, yeah, but the reward would be kind of cool for a little while. Like for a little while.
I mean, if this was like my job and I could afford to spend 8 hours fighting the same boss over and over again, then sure, I could do that. But I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience to do that.
But there's an element of it like, no matter what kind of misogynistic crypto bro asshole, if you're good at Elden Ring, nobody's gonna like, if you're better than everybody at Elden Ring, nobody's gonna complain. Like nobody's going to challenge you for that. No one's gonna begrudge you that. Well, you're just a girl. Well, you're an old lady. Yes, I do get that. Yes, I do get that.
The problem now is that you already have people doing this.
Yeah.
Elden Ring is broken, right?
I'd have to, right. I'd have to be better than them.
You need to wait for the next game from FromSoft to come out, and then you can be like, okay, I'm doing the one finger run.
Yeah, maybe.
Elden Ring
I've
2.
heard that From Software said that they're working on their next game, and that's not going to be as long a wait for the next game as it's this one. Probably because they made so much money off of Elden Ring that they
Well,
can.
also, this game was in development for like 6 years.
Right. But
But
they
they've also,
made so much money off of this game that they can actually afford the resources to be able to not make it 6 years between this game and the
they
next game.
like they already released the trailer for their next game, which is Armored Core.
Oh, that's right. Did I see something about Armored Core 6, is it? In
Yeah.
Korea? Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about, was there a preview in Korea that I saw? Armored Core 6.
I mean, they put out a
Korea.
trailer. I don't know if there's
It's been rated in, no, it's in April. Armored Core is rated in South Korea. Yes, it is rated in South Korea as of 2 weeks ago. It was spotted by Gamatsu. It's received a 12 plus in the region of Korea, which let's see, they rate things differently depending on what each country might view as appropriate or inappropriate for certain age ranges. But the age rating does, and I'm reading this directly, does suggest the game is far enough into development to be rated, and it is due to be released this year. So it's possible we could get a release date soon. A number of games have been accidentally revealed because of being rated in Korea, and typically do receive release dates quite soon after the rating comes through. So we may know within a very short period of time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the reception because like it's two very different games.
Right.
Armored Core is a very different.
It's
not a
it's not Elden
Souls-like
Ring.
game.
Yeah.
It's not Elden Ring. It's not a Souls-like. It's a straight up action mech game.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually really interested in it too because I do like mech games.
Mhm.
And you were the one that turned me onto those. No. Was it you? Yes, you.
Me?
Yes.
With what?
Shit.
No, not Chrome Hounds. I didn't play
Chromehounds.
Chrome Hounds.
You were the one that got me in. Was it you?
It wasn't me. I remember you talking about Chrome Hounds, but I never played it.
Aren't you the one that had not Chromehounds? Not Chromehounds.
Oh, Steel Battalion.
Steel Battalion.
Yeah.
Chromehounds was good. Steel Battalion was the one. I really did enjoy. I played Chromehounds with Hawks.
Hmm.
And that wasn't a bad game. That really, really wasn't. But it wasn't Steel Battalion. You were the one that actually said, like, you need to try this.
Steel Battalion is badass.
Yep.
I've
The original, not
I've
the
s-
new one.
Yeah, not the Kinect one.
Yeah, the Kinect one is bullshit. I don't even know why they released it. It was a money grab, I think, based on people remembering the original Steel Battalion. But I don't could they release a Steel Battalion now?
I don't know. Putting out a thing with that, like, with the controller like that.
Right.
I don't know. But
Right.
you know what they could do? They
Make
could
a
make a
VR.
VR version, and then you don't need the controller. You just put on the headset.
I don't know. The whole
It's
thing
very
about
it's
it
so
being
tactile, and
tactile
satisfying.
and right, that you feel like you have committed to this game because you got pedals and like a full, like your desk is completely covered in buttons and gadgets, and you have to learn how to use all of those buttons. There's no tutorial on how to use. I mean, there is, but it's about you learning how to use the equipment as much as it is learning how to master the gameplay.
Yeah.
Anybody here not know what Steel Battalion was, the original? Anybody need to be explained about this? Because I needed it until I saw it. I didn't believe it, and then I saw it and played it, and I realized this. It is a shame that this is not where games went from there. They should have gone from there.
Gimmicky peripherals. We had it with Rock Band. We had it with Steel Battalion.
Gimmicky peripherals, exactly. And maybe that's a downside of VR is it's going to remove the whole genre of gimmicky peripherals,
I mean, I don't.
including like Flight
Uh,
Simulator. I would put Flight Simulator right up there with that.
no,
There
people with flight simulators. They like look. People like their joysticks for flight sims and their racing wheel for racing games, and you will never take those away. Racing
right.
wheels and joysticks are here to
So
stay
they're
for the
peripherals, but they're
hardcore.
not gimmicky.
Yeah,
So maybe genre specific.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Because I mean, those aren't really
We
peripherals
just
that
need
are
a
made for a specific game. The way that Steel Battalion was, that peripheral was made for that game, and you had to have that peripheral to play that game.
yeah. We just need a Steel Battalion controller that can be used with multiple mech games.
Huge gimmicky peripherals, AC Wraith says. Honestly, I'm glad they died. Where do poor people store that stuff, even if they could afford it? Good point.
You want to know where? In my parents' storage room.
Yeah, that's where Nick has his.
In my parents' house. That's where I store it.
Nick,
Hmm.
I know that I am the person that is much older than you, so chances are you will outlive me, but I've also learned that sometimes shit happens. Can you let your parents know that if something happens to you,
You get the Steel Battalion controller.
can I have your Steel Battalion control and your X, because you have the Xbox, right? Because you
Oh,
were
yeah.
supposed to update. You have the Xbox without the update that allows you to still play it, right?
Maybe you can play it without an update.
I thought there was an update that prevented it, or you couldn't delete it off of your hard drive. If you did, you couldn't reload it onto your hard drive.
I have no idea.
Something like that. There was something very specific that it's kind of like the PT
Yeah,
thing that if you took it off, you couldn't get it back.
I have no idea.
I can't remember.
I haven't plugged in that Xbox console for a very long time.
It's okay. I plugged in I've got all my consoles. Most of them. I've got my original PS2 that got me into console gaming. Like the one that Kevin bought me for. That would be Christmas 1999. Christmas 1999.
Okay, so if I die suddenly, everyone here knows it was because Edie killed me for the Steel Battalion.
Yeah, no, I mean seriously, let your parents know that sorry if I have to fix this here because we've now gone into like critical failure on the cameras here because I've got full sun into my face.
Oh yeah, you're just the white face.
Yeah, I'm glowing like if I was in like at New Vegas. I like I'm irradiated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chunbox
let your parents know that I get that. I mean, I have nothing that I could give you for that. But if there's anything of yours that oh God, I can't even I can't even adjust this out. I'm sorry. I can't even adjust. This is just getting worse.
Chunbox said that
getting worse.
he's waiting for a better design controller so he can play more games on consoles. He hates using controllers. I don't believe it. What's wrong with the current controllers? I think they're great. I can't understand how people don't play with them, even on PC. I thought everyone used controllers. What did you play on? Well, while Edie figures that out, you can tell us.
It can't be figured. You cannot unfigure this. This doesn't happen.
And then earlier, AC Wraith said that the original Armored Core trilogy, original Armored Core trilogy on PS1 for the win. Those are the ones I always mentioned that used shoulder buttons for aiming because twin sticks were not yet standard. That's nuts.
Twin sticks were not yet standard?
The original Armored Core trilogy
was
used
like a single
buttons.
Right.
No, they used the shoulder buttons to aim, to go left and right, because twin sticks were not, they weren't a standard part of games.
When I think of twin sticks not being standard part of games. I'm only think of like the Atari.
Look, imagine the PlayStation controller without the sticks.
What console was this?
PlayStation.
Is this one?
Yeah. PlayStation controllers without the sticks. The original PlayStation.
Oh yeah. It was just right. It was just the D-pad and it was the 4 buttons. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Chenna says mouse and keyboard all the way. More power to you. I can't.
Oh no,
I can't stand doing that.
WASD. I can't do it. I can't.
Nope.
I play Bannerlord with it, and I really don't do very well.
Yeah, AC Ray says I use controllers on PC. Lots of PC gamers don't understand the attraction when I mention it.
Yeah, I don't see, I guess I understand it with like there's a lot of Rust players obviously that do very well with the with using mouse for shooting, but I'm not that person. Nick, can I go, please?
Yeah, you could go anytime. I didn't know. I thought you were sticking around because you wanted to talk.
No, I want you to shut up. Can we go?
I'm just reading.
I'm
chat.
just a white blob on the screen now.
You're ascending.
I'm ascending. Yeah, I'm fully ascending.
What's crazy is honestly it looks like a Photoshop effect.
It's not a Photoshop effect. I have put my camera is totally normal right now. I mean, if I turn my camera like this, you would see this is me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because I am getting blasted by the sun right now. So can we leave?
Yeah.
All right.
That's such a cool visual.
You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 677. We recorded this on Sunday, April 30th, 2023. I've been Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick Nicola. Ways to get a hold of us, gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube and Twitch. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, VIDS as in videos, and on Twitch, we are the GameHounds. We would love to have you join us. Thank you so much to everybody in the chat room for being here. For AC Wraith, of course, who was our link bitch. Everything that we mentioned, even if it was Matt Goley, he was putting a link in there. Everything that we mentioned that could have a link, he has posted it in the chat of both YouTube and Twitch. Gosh, you are so amazing that you do that every single week. Thank you so much. Chunderbox, we had Pissed, we had Blood Reaper. Who else do we have? We had a couple of other people in there that I don't see who else might be here. I'm sorry if I didn't mention your name. I am sorry, but thank you so much for listening to us. We hope you come back next week. We look forward to doing this. We do this show as an audio podcast as well. I will export that this tonight. It goes on to iHeartRadio, onto Apple iTunes. It goes on to Google Play. It is available by Alexa and Google devices. All you have to do is just ask for the show or look up GameHounds Podcast. Also, don't forget, we are 100% Patreon sponsored. Thank you to all of our patrons. We only ask for $1 a month. That is what we use to actually run the audio and run the video part of this show. So thank you to our patrons, to Peter Camo, to Tor the Weech, to Eric Baker, to Anonymous, to Piss, to Andy H. You make the show possible, at least on the video side. Thank you so much for it. And if you would like to join us, please feel free. Our Patreon is patreon.com/GameHounds. Also, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, don't forget to like and or subscribe and join our Discord channel. Our Discord channel is on the screen right now, or if you go to Facebook under The GameHounds, you can find it there as well. We'll see you on the Discord. Have a great week, everyone. I'll be playing something later tonight, and have a good week. Take care, and don't put your money in failed banks. See you later, everyone. Bye. All right, audio show done. Can I?
I still think, I'm surprised that there's not like some sort of show where someone just does it all like that.
Really?
Because it's a really cool effect, especially with the glasses of like the edges of the glasses often remain black, but like
Mhm.
you don't see yourself, and it's such a cool effect.
Is it? Well,
Yeah.
good to know. All I have to do is just do a show. All I have to do is just do a show between 5:45 and 6 p.m. right here. Because
Or just get like a spotlight and put it on you.
I could do it, or just increase the increase the brightness of the show. Because I mean, I could increase. I mean, I've got my brightness turned down
Nah,
all the way to 0.
no,
This
no,
is brightness all the way. This is brightness halfway.
no, you want it to look normal because you want everything around you to look normal, and you just want the face blown out.
Like that.
That's the cool effect. No, even
Alright.
go up a little bit. That looks good.
Right
because
there?
the background is like nicely lit and
Yeah.
bright,
It's perfect.
but it's just the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also have to be like Irish white, like I am, incredibly pale white.
I'm sure that helps. Yeah.
Yeah. That I'm reflective. I do have that. All right, everyone. I'm gonna go rescue my bread. I am gonna go make some more mackerel while I drink more. I still have to wash the back end of my car because the front end actually now looks good. Now I have to watch the back end of my car. I have to walk my dogs. I'm going to be playing. Do you want to play Chivalry tonight?
Sure. I could do Chivalry tonight. Yeah.
Or, I could play if you don't, I could play Hitman and just stream it. It's up
I'm
to you.
down for Chivalry.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know when. It is our first night back. We want to like hang out and watch stuff. So
Oh, you just when
Maybe-
did
maybe
you
later.
get back home?
last night.
Oh gosh. Okay.
We
Yeah.
got back
no.
at like midnight last night.
Oh wow. Yeah, I can see this being a very interesting effect because when my mouth is closed,
Yeah.
my mouth disappears.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know what the name of that style is, but there's a certain art style that really looks like that.
Yeah. This does look like animated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If I get a little closer, then you can just get like one pupil. All right. Enough of this silliness.
You look like you're No More Heroes.
Yeah, this is the whitest my teeth have ever been. They don't have curtains in the US. No, I don't have curtains, and here's why. And I'll turn this camera around so that you can see it. It is a leaded glass, so it doesn't have curtains. It's actually, I don't know if you can even get it to not reflect this, but it is a Victorian home with like pillars and stuff here. See it? And there's no like, and that's the only light, and it doesn't have like curtains. I mean, I have normal windows elsewhere, and if you can see outside, maybe come on, show me outside. Come on. There we go. See, there's a building right next to me. It is only just a tiny bit of the sky between that building right there. Come on, just see that building right there. If you can just barely see it, it's a tiny bit of sky that is just right there. When the sun crosses against it and it hits that window, then it's like this. But it's only for like a half hour a day. It just happens. I mean, you can even see that it's starting to go away now. See? Starting to go away. All right. Now it just looks like a mask.
Okay. I found something. It's like the inverse of this. It's like Sin City. You see the guy on the right?
Yep.
It's like kind of the inverse of that.
Yeah.
Like that's too detailed. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a particular image from Sin City that I really remember, where it's like all face. Oh wait, it's Sin City. Who's the Hobbit? Who was? Oh, Elijah Wood. I don't know how to spell
Yeah,
that.
Elijah Wood.
Kind of like
E-L-I.
this. Oh, there.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about. Something like that.
It does look
That's what
like
you
the
look like.
inverse of that it's white with the black glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you can already see that it's going away. So it only lasts for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, you need to do the whole podcast. You need a spotlight.
Yeah.
You need designed, purposeful lighting.
Yeah. I look like the Phantom of the Opera.
Mm.
All right. Now, so much fun for like that. He says swanky. No, it's actually not. It's actually it's leaky and it's old and it's falling apart and it would be expensive to fix. So it's not that swanky. Weren't we going to do a VTuber podcast at some point? This is close. It's true. It's an old house and protected from updates unless you do a lot of paperwork. That is 100% true because I am considered in a historic. I'm a contributor to a registered historic district. So pretty much if I can do anything I want to inside, but if I want to change a window on the outside, I have to go through a planning process. Unless you can do it in one day before anybody can red tag you. Just get in and out. It's like guerrilla work. You can just do it in the middle of the night where nobody notices. It's what a lot of people do. All right. Have a great week, everyone. Please take care, and we will talk to you next week. Hopefully, I don't get some bad news that I need surgery on my knee. Hopefully, they just go, it's fine. Here, take this cream, rub it on. It'll be fine. But I have a feeling it's not going to be like that.
Just got to do some bloodletting.
I would imagine that that's exactly what's going to happen. They're probably going to stick a needle in it and start draining it, which is fine. I mean,
Good.
it's better.
As long as it's easy and can be dealt with quickly.
Yeah, it's better than like every time I'm helping my friend move, like I get down on my knees and I could feel it squish around my knee every time I get down on my knees. It just feels awful. So this is an improvement. This would definitely be an improvement. All right. See you later, everyone. Bye.
Take care.